We in the building. We in the building. Let's do a sound check. Make sure we good. We in the building. Okay. We in the building. What they do? I say. What they do? What they do? What they do, man? Welcome to Talk Your Shit Boxing, episode 11. With your host, with the most, with your player partner, with the man with the plan, King David. And you on the realest motherfucking boxing channel there is, Box or Die. I say you on the realest motherfucking boxing channel there is, Box or Die. Do you feel me? I say, do you feel me? If you're tuning in and this is your first time viewing, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you let the people in the highways and the byways know we talk that shit. But we here to talk some good boxing. We here to get it all the way the fuck in, and that's exactly what we gonna do. You know what I mean? That's exactly what we gonna do. Shit. Woo, where do we start, goddamn? Where do we start? You see the topic of the video. You see the goddamn thumbnail. You know what time it is. You know what we're talking about. Today, we're going to be talking about Jake Paul and Showtime's new schedule. Showtime put out their new schedule. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about some fights going down soon. We're going to be discussing a whole lot of shit, man. You know what I'm saying? And if you're just joining us, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. You know what I'm saying? So we can go ahead and continue to do our thing. So we can continue to grow out here for the peoples in the highways and the byways. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to get right on into it, goddamn. Let's go ahead and talk this goddamn boxing shit. First up on the agenda for today is Jake Paul. Jake Paul is first up on the agenda today. So, Jake Paul, man, where do I start when it comes to Jake Paul? You know what I'm saying? Where do I start when it comes to Jake Paul? Jake Paul is indeed an enigma to me in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying? He's indeed an enigma to me in a lot of ways, you know? These dudes, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, these are literally dudes who are YouTubers. You know what I'm saying? Like motherfuckers like me and you. You know what I'm saying? Dudes who decided one day that they were going to post their own content on YouTube. These are literally these dudes. No formal training. Hold on 1 second. Let me check my sound again. Let me make sure my sound is there. Shit, I might have fucked some shit up. Hold on a second. I think I'm absolutely right. Might have fucked some shit. Oh, there we go. Check my sound again. Let me make sure my sound is there. I'd have muted myself. I don't know what. Hold on. Let me pause this motherfucker. All right, we back. Sorry about that shit. Way too early on to be fucking up like that. But anyway, back on point. So yeah, man, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, these are literally dudes who came up on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers like me and you and, you know, one day came up with a plan that they were going to come up with a YouTube channel and they were going to do this and do that and create content. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, one thing led to another and these motherfuckers have ended up in the boxing ring for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about boxing And a lot of people, I feel like either they instinctively know this or maybe they indirectly know this. The thing about boxing is it's not really one of those things you can really just pick up like that. You know what I'm saying? It's not really one of those things you could just wake up and say, I want to box. You know what I mean? It's really not one of those things. You know, mainly because people who box are usually people that have been doing it since they were fucking yay high. Since literally people who have been boxing since they, you know, since they've been teething and shit. Motherfuckers rolling up out of their cribs, you know what I mean, as babies in learning how to box. You know what I mean? You look at guys like Floyd Mayweather, he talked about he picked up boxing gloves at 5 years old. So and that's a normal, typical thing in boxing. Not only that, but to take it a step further, you hear about a lot of professional boxers having their father train them in boxing. So if like your dad is training you, clearly your dad is going to get you at a really early age and start schooling you on some boxing. That's your dad. You grew up with him. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people who are in boxing have been doing it, I mean, a really fucking long time, you know what I mean? Almost as long as they've been alive. But for people like Logan Paul and Jake Paul, dudes who just one day just pick the shit up, you know what I'm saying? To not only pick it up, but, you know, make good money off of it, which, you know, it's a little bit of an enigma, you know what I'm saying? It's a little bit of an enigma, you know? I ain't mad at it, but it's a little bit of an enigma to me. It's a little like difficult to understand. You know what I'm saying? You know, a dude who just started or just learned how to box somehow money wise, because we of course we're talking about money, somehow money wise reaching the very pinnacle of what the sport has to offer. You know, but outside all that shit, man, outside all that shit, outside of the fact that it's a whole enigma to me, I like the idea of Jake Paul and Logan Paul and shit like and dudes like that putting these motherfuckers in their place. That's really what's happening. They putting these dudes in their place. You know what I'm saying? They putting dudes like Earl Spence and Jermell Charlo, these PBC dudes, they putting these dudes in their place because it's going to be very difficult for a lot of Earl fans, Jermell fans, and people like that to come out their face and say Earl's a success or Earl's doing this or Earl's doing that. When you have dudes like Jake Paul and Logan Paul doing over 1 million pay-per-view buys, you know what I'm saying? It's very difficult after we're learning things like this about Jake Paul and Logan Paul. It's very hard for dudes to come out and try to big dog you. Like you can't big dog nobody when you're getting outsold by Jake Paul. You know what I'm saying? You can't big dog nobody when Jake Paul is the pay-per-view king. You know what I'm saying? It's very tough for you to open your face and say and speak any level of entitlement to as far as whatever little success you may have as a fighter, because it's very little, it's very minimal in comparison to a Jake Paul. You know what I'm saying? You know, so I like the fact that dudes like Jake Paul, Logan Paul, I like that these dudes are in the sport right now, and I like that they're doing the numbers that they're doing because it gives a sense of humility to these other motherfuckers that feel like they can big dog people when at the end of the day, your brand need work. Your star power ain't what you claim it is, ain't what it's supposed to be. So who are you to say to try to dictate terms to another fighter? Who are you to make them kind of statements when you getting outsold by Jake Paul and Logan Paul? You know what I'm saying? By Mike Tyson and Roy Jones. Who are you to try to dictate anything to anybody when your brand ain't nowhere near that level? When what you offer isn't life-changing, but more or less what motherfuckers is getting paid any goddamn way. You know what I'm saying? Jake Paul versus what's the dude's name? Ben Askren. Man, that was almost an $80 million fight. That was almost an $80 million fight. So if that's an $80 million fight, I assume the network gets half of that. So 40, after my recent education on pay-per-views and things like that, the network gets half of that. That's $40 million to split between Jake Paul and Ben Askren. Now, Ben Askren probably is getting a very small portion of that. You know what I'm saying? He probably ain't getting none of that. I wouldn't be surprised if he just got a flat $2 million whatever dollars for it. But if Jake Paul is coming up on any part of that pay-per-view share, any part of that revenue, that back-end revenue, oh, it's highly beneficial. You know what I'm saying? You know. But I think I say all that to say this, man. I like Triller in the game. I like Jake Paul in the game. At the end of the day, they give these other dudes the competition that they need. They're like the get your shit together neighbor. You know what I'm saying? That neighbor that moves in across the street and has that lawn that's always mowed. You know what I'm saying? On the holidays that they put up all their decorations and shit, and they got all their shit popping off. Meanwhile, you a motherfucker, you ain't even cutting your grass. Your grass is growing long, but your next door neighbor got great grass. They got all their ornaments up. You know what I'm saying? They doing big boy shit. They shit clean. They pressure wash they roof. They pressure wash they driveway. Meanwhile, your shit got little oil slicks and oil spills all in there. That's what Jake Paul and Triller is doing right now. They're that neighbor that just moved in, that's maintaining their house. But not only maintaining their house, they building on top of the house. They adding stories and shit. They getting solar panels and shit. They putting a little gate on the outside of it. They upgraded. You know what I'm saying? While you guys like PPC and Top Rank are getting left behind in the dust by these dudes. You know? So I like Triller. I like Jake Paul. As far as, you know, his persona, as far as like what he brings to the table, not him as an actual person. I don't know him as a person, you know what I'm saying? But as far as what he brings to the table and the level of competition that Triller and Jake Paul bring to the sport of boxing, Jake Paul and Triller got their own belt. You know what I'm saying? Which they would have to have their own belt. Well, now they wouldn't have to. I mean, considering all the money that they're making, I'm sure they could have reached out to the WBC, and the WBC probably would have pulled some bullshit ass belt out of their ass in order to get the goddamn in order to get some type of money out of the situation. Because the WBC is just being unscrupulous. They create belts for whatever reason. I'm sure they would have created a Triller belt, you know what I'm saying, or a YouTube belt or some shit. But they got their own belt. They got their own belt. They got their own streaming service. You know what I'm saying? They promote their own fights. They doing everything in-house. You know what I'm saying? Showing these other motherfuckers how to do it. They putting production quality into their fights. You know what I'm saying? They fights are events, they're shows. You know what I'm saying? Rather than just fights. And then they getting real fights on the shows too. You know? They real fights are taking place on these cards, not just Logan Paul and Jake Paul. You got real fighters fighting for real belts on their network. And then they coming in, they bidding on they're picking up purses and stuff like that, bidding on purses and stuff like that, snatching up these fights from these other dudes. I mean, what's not to like about Triller? I really like Triller right now. I like what Triller brings to the table. You know what I'm saying? But back to Jake Paul. Now, Jake Paul, a lot of people clown Jake Paul, but Jake Paul has pretty decent boxing skills. Do I think that he will make it in the ring with a real professional? No, he'll get knocked the fuck out, more than likely. But he may be able to compete in the sport on some level. And I feel like a lot of people aren't really acknowledging that. Jake Paul puts in the time, the effort, he trains. He goes pretty hard, you know what I'm saying, as far as getting into the sport and that type of deal. So we're just gonna give him a little bit of acknowledgement, simply for the fact that he didn't just jump into this. He put the time, energy, and effort in order to develop some skills in order to be able to compete as a boxer. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, he ain't perfect, but he all right. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, that said, even though I mentioned that he has skills, like he's competing against basketball players and, you know, maybe football players and, you know, MMA guys who don't really have no type of stand-up game. He's competing against these dudes. And, you know, we all know that that ain't really the plug. That ain't really a good barometer of what his skill set actually is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I guess the sad truth about the whole Jake Paul kind of situation is the fact that we never really gonna know how good this kid is, you know what I mean, as far as his boxing skills go. We never really gonna know because of the fact that he's fighting Uber drivers and, you know, MMA fighters with no stand-up and, you know, dudes that wrestle and golfers and NASCAR drivers and, you know, bartenders and shit like that, real estate agents. He's fighting dudes like that and not really boxers. But you know, it is what it is. I think I think Triller should continue to do what the fuck they've been doing and make some money about this motherfucker, man. I ain't mad at them at all. And they need to give these other motherfuckers a good kick in the ass. And they need that kick in the ass. They need to put on one of these Triller events the same time they put on one of these punk ass pay-per-views that they're gonna put on. Like, I wish there was a Triller event taking place for Errol Spence versus Ugas. You know what I'm saying? I wish that they put that along with that fight. That would be hella dope to me. You know, because you're putting on Errol Spence versus Ugas, you know, he feel like he big shit for fighting Dennis Ugas on pay-per-view. I mean, if it's on pay-per-view, we don't even know. They say the fight's done, but we don't even really know what the situation is with that. You know what I'm saying? But these dudes need a kick in their ass. You know what I'm saying? They really do. Canelo, I wish a Triller event took place while Canelo was fighting. That'd be dope as fuck. We can look at it side by side and see. You know what I mean? The Triller event would take away from the Canelo event. I like that. A lot of these dudes need that. You know what I'm saying? My guy Terry Smoot in the building. Terry, what's going on with you, my guy? What's going on with your pimp sauce? Yes, sir. Talking about Triller and Jake Paul right now, Terry. But yes, sir. Terry says Spence versus Ugas is official. I've heard reports of it yet, but we still don't have a date, still no venue. Unless you got one that you know of, Terry. You got a date and venue for Spence versus Ugas? Because I keep hearing that it's official, but we still don't have no date. They keep saying around July or, you know, somewhere in the summer, but it's hella vague. We don't know yet. Triller is destroying boxing. You think it's destroying boxing, Terry? I don't think it's destroying boxing at all. I think it's giving these dudes a solid kick in the ass that they really need. I think Triller is providing Triller is that next door neighbor that just moved across the street. Triller is that next door neighbor that just moved across the street that has that perfect lawn and the grass. They maintain grass and they got the new roof and shit like that. Triller's that neighbor. Terry Smooth says, like Jake Paul is a real official sanctioned boxer. He's not a sanctioned boxer, but hey, he's getting that boxer money. You know what I'm saying? He's getting that box. He's getting paid more than these boxers out here. You know what I'm saying? Very few fighters right now are making more than Jake Paul. And when I mean very few, I mean very few. You know what I'm saying? Terry Smooth says, so we're going back to the 90s hip-hop Def Jam boxing when Floyd fought Augustus. So we're going back to the 90s. I mean, you know, I guess that's how you deem the Triller show. I mean, it's entertainment, you know what I mean, for the people. I'm not so much a fan of that, you know what I'm saying? It's more of a spectacle than a fight, but I can get down with it too, as long as the fights are taking place, you know what I'm saying? As long as the fights are taking place that we want to see, I don't give a fuck what you do in the background. You can goddamn have Vanilla Ice back there freestyling. I wouldn't give a shit. As long as we got some boxing, as long as it's the fights that we're trying to see, I'm all good in the neighborhood, Terry. I'm all good in the neighborhood over there. Whatever the case is with Jake Paul and Triller, for me, it's like, you know, we need that. Terry Smooth Jr. says, and this is sad. How are we champions getting paid less than Jake Paul? I hear Floyd versus Logan is official. I'm sure he is going. I mean, why wouldn't Floyd make that fight with Logan Paul? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't Floyd versus Logan Paul happen? I mean, you know, I hear Floyd might fight Jake Paul afterwards. I've heard rumors of that too, that Floyd might fight Jake Paul afterwards, you know. But, you know, the only reason that these dudes like Logan Paul and dudes like Jake Paul, the only reason why these dudes are able to come up in the sport and have success is because we're not getting the fights that we want to see. The fights that are supposed to happen, that are supposed to be big fights, that are supposed to be spectacles, aren't happening. So we getting better fights. Well, I ain't gonna say better fights, but more attention is getting put on YouTubers than actual real deal fighters, which is where it's supposed to be at. You know what I mean? Is this what boxing has come to? Yeah, it has come to that, man. But you know, that's why dudes like me exist, because we be calling for, we talk that real boxing talk. We call for the fights that are supposed to happen. You know what I mean? Because we love the sport and we want to see the sport get the attention that it's supposed to get. You know what I mean? Nobody's asking for anything unreasonable. Nobody's asking for anything unreasonable. We just want the fights we're supposed to get. If I'm not excited about a fight, then why am I going to tell anybody, you know what I'm saying, about a fight? You know what I'm saying? That's how fight parties happen. You know what I mean? You know what happened to the fight parties? You know what I mean? We don't have no more fight parties no more, because we don't have no fights to congregate for. You know what I mean? Terry Spoon says, I feel you, King. We don't got no fights to congregate for, man. You know, everything is, fuck it, I'll catch you the next day on YouTube. Fuck it, I'll catch the highlights. If Earl and Ugas goes on pay-per-view, I'm not paying pay-per-view money for that. Got me fucked up. You know what I'm saying? I'm not paying pay-per-view money for Earl and Ugas. Why? You know what I'm saying? Terry Smooth says, my uncle uses to always throw fight parties. Yeah, man. You know, shit used to always happen, man. We, you know, for them big Tyson fights and stuff like that. And, you know, Sugar Ray Leonard versus Marvin Hagler, and you know what I mean, Roberto Duran and them dudes, man, we used to, you know, it would be a big event when them dudes was fighting. We used to throw fight parties and, you know what I mean? Terry Smooth says, you better pay for Earl to get that third strap. You got me fucked up. You got me fucked up, Terry. I ain't paying for that. Paying for that goddamn third strap. Yo, Earl gonna beat the dog shit out of you, Dennis Ugas, man. I'm not paying for that. You got me fucked all the way up. You know what I'm saying? They better not put that shit on pay-per-view, man. I'm here to tell you now, man. They better not put that shit on pay-per-view. If they try to put that on pay-per-view, man, that's gonna fail miserably. That's gonna, you know what I want to know? This is what I want to know from a lot of Earl supporters, a lot of the Earl people. If this next pay-per-view, if Earl goes on pay-per-view, like what a lot of people think he's gonna do, if Earl Spence goes on pay-per-view with Ugas and his numbers flop, and a flop to me is less than 200,000 pay-per-view buys, okay? His last pay-per-view with Sean Porter did 200, I'm sorry, with Danny Garcia did 250,000 pay-per-view buys, which is trash, okay? But Sean Porter at least had somewhat of a name, okay? Sean Porter at least has somewhat of a name, and most people viewed a fight with Sean Porter as a competitive fight. Most people viewed it that way. But this fight with your Dennis Ugas, I don't think most people view it as competitive. I know I don't. I don't view it as competitive. You know what I mean? Not only that, but nobody knows who the fuck your Dennis Ugas is. Some people knew Sean Porter. Some people did. Some people knew Sean Porter. You know, but nobody knows your Dennis Ugas. Nobody knows your Dennis Ugas. So if Earl goes on pay-per-view and with your Dennis Ugas and he does less than 200,000 pay-per-view buys, is Earl still the big fish? And this is for my Earl people out there. Y'all may catch the playback. Y'all may catch the, I don't know. Shit. If Earl goes into a fight where you're Dennis Ugas and he does less than 200,000 pay-per-view buys, okay? He does less than 200,000, which is very possible because the fight with Sean Porter did 250. So if he does anything less than 200, okay, which is a flop, is Earl still the big fish? Can he still request? Can he still, according to you Earl people, because I don't believe in that 60-40 bullshit to begin with, but according to you Earl people, can he still demand 60-40? Is what I want to know. That's what I want to know from the Earl people. We're going to ask it again later, but that's what I want to know from the Earl people. Can he still demand 60-40? Is he still the big fish if a Ugas Spence pay-per-view fight flops and does under 200,000 pay-per-view buys? All right, we're going to ask that again later, but we're going to move the fuck on. So, yeah, man, back on Logan Paul, and then afterwards we're going to switch gears. But back on Logan Paul and Triller, man, they really kicking boxing in the ass right now, you know? Before when, like, with UFC, the thing is with UFC would do, like, better numbers on average than boxing fights. And, you know, a lot of people would say, well, you know, UFC's taking over. You know what I'm saying? UFC's taking over. And, you know, people that were diehard boxing fans, they would more or less kind of be against that. They would more or less kind of, you know, nah, UFC, you know what I mean? Boxing, I don't really watch UFC. I watch boxing. Like, people who watched boxing. People who watch UFC watched UFC. Okay. So people were always kind of able to make that, you know, distinction between the two sports, you know, and people who supported boxing were kind of able to justify the failing boxing numbers. You know what I'm saying? They were able to justify that. because, you know, UFC something different. You know what I mean? That's a whole nother sport. That's some different shit altogether. But now that you have Triller and Jake Paul now that entered the scene, well, this is boxing. This is the same sport. This is the same sport. What opinion on it? This is the same sport that we all, as boxing fans, claim we love. You know what I'm saying? So how do you justify fighters like Earl Spence, Terrence Crawford, Jermell Jamal, dudes that are supposed to be the biggest in the sport? How do you explain their failing pay-per-view numbers in comparison to these Triller events, to these Jake Paul numbers, to these Logan Paul numbers? How do you justify that now? Because with UFC, when UFC was doing well, a lot of boxing fans will say, well, that's something different. That's something altogether. Boxing ain't dying, you know, but, you know, that's something different. But now that Triller has come onto the scene, and Triller and these dudes, this latest fight, 1.5 million pay-per-view buys. Now that Triller has hit the scene, along with Jake Paul and Logan Paul, how do us as boxing fans, how do we justify the lackluster numbers now? You know, how do we justify the fact that the sport that we love is not doing well when it comes to fanfare and attention? You know, it really is a sad state of affairs. You know what I'm saying? But I like that. I like that Triller and Jake Paul is there, because now we can see it now. We can see it in the promoters. Hopefully the promoters are taking note. Hopefully the promoters are looking at the formula. They're taking notes and they're trying to replicate what the fuck is going on. My guy G Park in the building. What's going on with you, G? Let's fucking go. Yes, sir. H-Town, shout out to H-Town, man. Shout out to Dade County too, man. I'm from Miami. I'm from Dade County, man. See the U out here. See the U. See that U? We rep that U around here, man. I'm from Miami, man. Let's go. Shout out to Dade County, man. G Parker, what they do, my guy. G Parker, what they do, my guy. But we gonna switch gears, man. We done with all that shit. We done with all that Triller shit and all that. We're gonna switch gears, man. We're gonna talk about this Showtime schedule. So this is what I'm gonna do, man. And G, if you want to hop on, man, you can hop on, my guy. I'm about to put this link on. We're gonna talk about this new Showtime schedule, man. That just came out. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna be talking about all the fights that's on there. Only the best of the best, because I don't really rock with all the damn fights that's on there. So I'm gonna drop this link. Anybody that want to come through can come through. Copy invite link. All right, just posted the link. The next topic is gonna be the Showtime schedule, man. The next topic will be the Showtime schedule, man. You know what I mean? Showtime dropped a schedule. They got a few little fights on there, man, that look good, man. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it, man. Overall, I think they got a pretty good schedule, man. Overall, I think they got a pretty good schedule, man. I give their schedule a C plus. They schedule. It's a pretty good schedule. It's a pretty good schedule. Showtime got a pretty good schedule. And I rock with Showtime as far as like they platform. Like I like the platform Showtime. You know? Showtime makes it very easy to catch their fights. You know what I mean? You can watch it from their app. You can watch it from the TV if you got the app on your TV. You know what I'm saying? Showtime makes it very easy to watch fights. You know what I'm saying? Unlike some of these other platforms like Fox and shit like that, man. If you don't got basic cable, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like a good portion of the world don't really rock with basic cable no more. If you ain't got basic cable, you know what I'm saying? You can't really watch no Fox shit. Maybe you could watch it from the Fox app. Maybe there's a Fox app I don't know about. I don't fucking know. You know what I'm saying? But if you ain't got basic cable, you can't really rock with none of the Fox shit. You know what I'm saying? Is where I'm at with it. But overall, man, I rock with Showtime. I rock with I rock with Showtime programming. I rock with Showtime brand. Um I rock with the platform, and this Showtime schedule is pretty good. I was actually wondering, I've been wondering for quite some time why we haven't really been getting a whole lot of boxing on Showtime. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we haven't been getting a lot of boxing, period. But it seemed to me like Showtime just really hasn't had um any of the fights on. You know what I'm saying? Like at all. You know. And now we get a little bit of something. We're getting a little bit of something now. You know what I mean? But overall, we haven't really been getting any real fights on Showtime, you know, up until now. So I wonder what happened that brought this about. You know what I'm saying? There was some news, I believe, like a while ago, talking about how Fox and PBC is kind of like fading out. Maybe their relationship has kind of gotten a little, you know, toxic. And I feel like that's true to a certain extent. I feel like Fox probably doesn't have the same amount of, probably didn't give PBC the same amount of dates that they may have had a year before. So as a result, you know, they had to kind of kill some of those dates and kind of, you know, bring it on over. But that's where we at though with it. You know what I'm saying? That's where we at with it. But ain't nobody hit this link, so I'm gonna start cooking on some of these fights, man. I'm gonna start cooking on some of these goddamn fights. Oh, G Parker in the building. G Parker. My guy G Parker in the building, man. What's going on with you, G? You gotta turn your audio on, my guy.
All right, what's up, dog? Can you hear me?
Gotta turn your audio on.
All right, let's see. Can you hear me now?
Sound like you're muted.
All right, what about now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
You muted over there. I can't hear you. You gotta connect that audio.
All right, what about now? Can you hear me?
Still can't hear you. Still can't hear. We waiting for G Parker to get his audio together, man. Waiting for that audio to get right, get tight. But we here though. We gonna go ahead and hold on a second.
All right, what about now? Can you hear me? We got action?
Yeah, my guy still can't hear you. I don't know what's going on. Go ahead, leave and come back, G. Go ahead, leave and come back. Cause I can't hear you at all. Okay, look like he left. He's gonna come back in a minute. Okay, so I'm waiting for my dog G Parker to come back in the build. But in the meantime, okay, in the mountains of Arizona. Okay. We back in here. Welcome back, Terry. What's going on with your pimp sauce? Terry, I dropped that link, man. So if you wanna hit that link, we about to start talking about Showtime schedule right now, man. We about to start talking about Showtime schedule, man. My guy G Parker was having some sound issues, so we wait for him to get back on. So if you want to, man, you can go ahead and hit that link. I got that link right above you. You can hit that link. And we're gonna talk about Showtime schedule, man. Showtime's new schedule. They dropped it, I think, over the weekend or the end of last week. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that, man. Some of those fights on there. You know what I mean? Give me 5 minutes. Hit the link. Okay, 5 minutes. All right, all right, all right. Okay, cool, man. Let me go ahead and cook while everybody getting it together. Let me go ahead and cook. Terry Smooth said, "Give me about 5 minutes." Make me miss HBO. Absolutely. Showtime make it miss HBO. I don't know about that. HBO, man. You know, I liked how HBO did their programming. I liked how they did their fights. I like how HBO promoted their fighters too. If you remember, Floyd Mayweather came up on HBO. Oscar De La Hoya came up on HBO. A lot of the pound for pound stars that we know today came up on HBO because they knew how to, and even though these dudes they came up with top rank, but top rank in collaboration with HBO knew how to build fighters. You know what I'm saying? They knew how to promote fighters and they knew how to make the most out of fighters. You know what I'm saying? I like we know later on in HBO career, and not really necessarily later on, they kind of did this shit the whole time, but we know they was on some international boxing shit, you know what I'm saying, where they wasn't promoting no black fighters, you know what I'm saying, around the Triple G era when they started kissing Triple G ass and kissing Manny Pacquiao ass and not promoting the black fighters and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But a lot of fighters in general, HBO just had a way of, they were like one of the few boxing networks out there. I think it was just them, really, honestly. That's probably how they even, you know what I'm saying? Because once Showtime got into the game, they kind of canceled HBO all the way the fuck out. Um, but if we're just talking about um HBO in general, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the fighters that came up and through HBO became household names, because of the the promotion of HBO and Top Rank. You know what I'm saying? Because of them guys. Okay, okay. Let me. Terry Smooth says finishing up here at work. I'm in Cali. I'm off at 6 p.m. Yes, sir. Okay. That's like 15 minutes. G Parker says, at Terry Smooth, I'm on the way to Richmond, California. Oh, my guy on the road. My guy on the road. My guy G Parker on the road. I hear you, my guy. I hear you. But yeah, you know, HBO had a way of kind of just promoting their fighters, you know what I'm saying, and kind of getting the most out of them, you know what I'm saying, on a global scale, you know. Um, I still go back to HBO and watch some of their highlights that they would do with some of the fighters. You know what I'm saying? Like the promo they would do for Floyd Mayweather, and they would do something like that, like a little promotional video, like showing their highlights and stuff like that. They do that like every year, every 2 years for all of their fighters, their big fighters and stuff like that. I like how they would do that, like the best of Floyd Mayweather, the best of Winky Wright. You know what I'm saying? Like they had all the fighters, and they would, I just like how they did things in general. But Showtime, man, Showtime is the guy on the block now. Showtime always has been around a long time. You know, it wasn't up until recently that they kind of took over the scene. You know what I'm saying? And made some shit happen. You know, so Showtime, they have their new schedule, and shit looks good. Shit looks pretty good. Like I said, I give it as far as their schedule is concerned, I give the schedule a C plus. You know what I'm saying? But they got some good fights on here, man. We're gonna talk about some of these fights, man. We're gonna talk about some of these fights, man. When we get the guests in, I'll get y'all take on it. But for right now, I'm gonna cook on some of these fights, man. So one fight in particular, man, let's go ahead and talk about Tank versus Mario Barrios. That's one of the bigger fights that's on the Showtime schedule for this year coming up. Tank versus Mario Barrios. So like, and let me make this statement before I actually go in on the schedule. One thing about this schedule is these most of these fights are good fights. The problem with this schedule, if I had to say there was any problem, is that they're just not very meaningful fights. You know what I'm saying? They're good fights, but not meaningful fights. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, so as I talk about these fights, we're gonna talk a little bit more about that. But first on the agenda, man, like I said, Tank versus Mario Barrios is first on the agenda, man. I think that's a pretty good fight, man. Tank moving up in weight, moving up to 140 pounds to fight Mario Barrios, who's pretty much a gunner, man. He's one of those pressure guys, and Tank is gonna have to overcome that, man. Um, Tank looked a little vulnerable. As he moved up to 135 from 130. So to see him move up another 5 pounds to 140, it's hard to know what to expect. I think Barrios is a really good fighter. I think ultimately though Tank will win. I think they see something in Barrios that they can exploit, and therefore they're going to exploit it. Tank is moved in a very strategic way. So I doubt they would have went with the Barrios fight if they didn't see something that they could take advantage of. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like even for just that reason alone, that Tank is gonna come away with the dub off of this fight. But other than that, I feel like this is gonna be Tank and Barrios is gonna be a really good fight, man. I think that we're probably gonna see a knockout in this fight, just based on the strength of how both fighters like to bring it. You know what I mean? I think Barrios's power, maybe that might be one thing too. I don't think Barrios has a whole lot of power. He's kind of like a punches and bunches kind of guy. So that he may be lacking in that area, and maybe that's what they're looking at as a good fight at 140 for Tank. And I think Barrios has that regular WBA championship belt, so it'll be an opportunity for Tank to go ahead and get another belt at another weight division, which is a good accomplishment, but not a great accomplishment because at the end of the day, that's the regular belt, not the super belt. Which is what leads me back to what I was saying before, where to me this is just not a meaningful fight. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was calling for Tank and Barrios. It's not for a super belt or one of the major belts. You know, if Tank beats Mario Barrios, that doesn't mean that he's the best at 140. It just means that he got a good win over a solid opponent, you know what I mean, for a title at a new division. You know what I'm saying? I think if anything, it's going to be more interesting to see what Tank does after the Barrio fight, because if he wins the fight, does he go back down and weight to 135? Does he stay at 140 and fight Josh Taylor versus Jose Ramirez winner? I think that he'll be in that position to be able to challenge for that fight. And I think both Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor would be more than open to fighting Tank Davis. But will he be willing to fight any of those guys? I think is the big question. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that remains to be seen, man. I think either way, it's a good fight, man. Josh Taylor versus Tank Davis, man, man, oh man, oh man. That fight kind of give me, that's gonna be a damn good fight. And Jose Ramirez versus Tank Davis would be a good one too, because you're gonna have Jose coming forward, you know what I'm saying, sticking punches and stuff like that, and you're gonna have Tank looking to counter punch, looking to catch Jose slipping, which he may be able to do. But the thing is who knows whether or not Tank's power is going to translate up to 140 pounds. That's one thing we don't know. So we'll see. G Parker says, okay, who was harder to hit, Winky or Floyd? Who was harder to hit, Winky or Floyd? Wow. Man, it's hard to go against Floyd Mayweather in any defensive category, period. You know what I'm saying? Winky had a good defense, but Floyd Mayweather, come on now. You know what I mean? There would be times that Floyd Mayweather would go without being, I swear he would go whole fights without being touched. You know what I mean? And he would just avoid punches in a way that was just, I mean, it'll just leave you speechless. Like, how the fuck you avoiding punches like that and you boxed into a corner? You know what I mean? Dude throwing, do you remember that? I think he was fighting, Floyd was fighting Oscar De La Hoya. And it was one Oscar De La Hoya threw like, I don't know, it was like 5 left hooks, you know what I'm saying, in a row. And Floyd blocked each and every one of those left hooks, you know what I'm saying, and then laughed a little bit afterwards. It's hard to rate anybody defense over Floyd Mayweather unless you're talking about somebody like Pernell Whitaker, you know what I'm saying, or dudes like that, or Salvador Sanchez, or dudes that, you know, are famous, other legendary fighters that were famous for defense. Winky had a good defense, but I think you could hardly put him on the level of Floyd Mayweather when it comes to defense. You know what I mean? Another dude, man, who don't get enough credit for his defense, man, James Toney. James Toney don't get enough credit for his defense, man. I would say his defense was legendary too. He don't get enough credit for it. You know what I'm saying? If you're talking about people who was hard to hit, James Toney, man, used to get in and out of the way of motherfucking punches, man. You know what I mean? So that was a good one right there. But yeah, man, back on Tank versus Barrios though, man. I think ultimately this is gonna be a good fight, but not a meaningful fight. But ultimately, I'm excited about it though. I think it's gonna be a good fight, man. I can't wait to see it. It's gonna be on Showtime, and Showtime don't make shit difficult, man. Showtime, the subscription for Showtime is real affordable too, man. You know what I'm saying? Showtime is like less than $10 a month, I think. You know, Showtime is less than $10 a month. So why not, get you a Showtime subscription? You know what I'm saying? And then you can stream it from your phone or watch it on your iPad or watch it on your TV. I like Showtime. Unlike DAZN, DAZN is $20 a month. DAZN don't make no goddamn sense. DAZN is $20 a month, and all they got on there is fights. You know what I'm saying? All they got on DAZN is fights. So I don't, and they don't really have good fights like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I subscribe to DAZN. I got DAZN to watch the Andrade versus Liam Williams fight. You know what I'm saying? But who else we seeing on DAZN? We seeing Canelo. They gonna have some fights coming up though. It might be a good time to get DAZN. But up until now, what were we watching? We were watching what? Canelo versus Yildirim. You know what I'm saying? What were we watching on DAZN? We weren't seeing no good fights on there. So I rock with Showtime. I'm glad Showtime got a schedule and they back on the map. You know what I'm saying? But Tank versus Barrios is a good one. Let me see if anybody trying to come up in the room, man. Okay, Terry Smooth here in the building, man. Come on through, Terry. Come on through, Terry.
Yo.
Come on through.
Can you hear me, King?
Gotta go on and connect your audio.
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
There you go.
Hey, can you hear me, King? Wait, hold on.
You there, Terry? I can't hear you.
Dang it. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm here. Let me get my
Hold on, Terry. I can't hear you at all, my guy. Hold on a second. I can't hear you at all.
Hold on. Dang it.
You muted. You muted right now, Terry. Unmute yourself. There you go.
Right. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Dang. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Oh, there they are. Give me 1 second. There they are.
Still can't hear you. What the hell?
Hola.
Something going on with me? Rename, make host. But it might be something on my end fucking up.
Let's see. Let's see. Can you hear me now? Let's see. Can you hear me now? All right. Wait. Record? No.
Oh, okay. That's how you do that.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you at all, Terry.
You still can't hear me? And I got my headphones
Take the
in?
using your headphones. Take the headphones out.
All right. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, King?
Still can't hear you. What the hell? What's going on?
Uh-oh. Because I can hear you.
You can hear me though, right?
You.
You can hear me,
Yes,
but I can't hear
yes.
you. Fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't understand this shit. Hold on a second.
Oh. Yeah.
Let me see something, man. Let me see. Shit always got to be fucking up, man.
Yeah.
Oh, you can hear on the line. I just can't hear you on my end. What the fuck is that all about? Hold on. Oh, is that where I'm fucking up at? Okay, I think I see what the issue is. On a second. Don't go nowhere, Terry. Speaker. Go ahead, unmute yourself, Terry.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you on the live, but I can't hear you through my damn.
I'm right. Don't worry. I'm not going nowhere.
Yeah, it's definitely on my end. G Parker says definitely on my end. I don't understand. I don't know what the hell going on. Hold on a second. Oh, hold on a second.
Take your time. We gonna work it out.
There we go. Okay, I got it. It was me fucking up. God damn, it was me fucking up. What's going on with you, Terry, man? What's good with you? I can hear you now.
All right, no, nothing much. No, we good. I was just, just getting off work and everything. You already know, I just saw that you were live. So, but then, we had a little audio issues, but now we got it straight. So, we can roll now.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 100% me on I'm like such an old man with technology, man. Like it was literally this thing on my microphone. Like I gotta hit a button and otherwise your sound goes off and I can't hear you. So it was I don't even know why a button like that would even be on there, but whatever, we here. so what's good, Terry, man? How's your day going so far, man? What's going on with you?
I don't know much. You already know. Happy holiday. Off work now. Just we can just talk a little bit of boxing, then just shut it down, get ready for work tomorrow. But now I was hearing how you were breaking down that Gervonta Davis and that Marios Barrios fight. So I sort of see that as I mean, everybody knows, Tank Davis, he's a little bit moved strategically because I mean, he's not gonna really run the smoke in his division. And we don't know what his division is. Is it 130, 135? Like, which one is it? Because you already know there's major players in both divisions. And I don't think he wants the smoke with certain ones because, they have his number. It's a certain style that he just can't beat. So, of course, you got to move him strategically. So, pretty much, you can see this is gonna go on for pretty much a lot of his career, except he may get put in positions where like he might have to fight a Teofimo. He's not going to fight a Devin. We already know that. You're not going to fight a Gary Russell if he moves it to 130. Like there's certain styles that he's just going to duck from because that's your number right there. So right now, I think when you look at Marios Barrios, he's similar to like a Leo Santa Cruz, punches and bunches and very long jabs. He's got long levers, like we used to consider in football. So like with that long jab, he can do just like he did Leo. And if he can get right, slip underneath the jab and then, pull that counter uppercut, that's saying curtains.
If you had to give this fight a percentage, you had to say, okay, Tank has a 60% chance to win, or Mario has a 40% chance to win, or how would you break that down? How would you say like the odds are as far as that happening?
I think right now, like if we were to go to Vegas, right now Tank Davis is definitely going to be the favorite. I mean, he's already the popular figure, so people in Vegas odds, they're going to give Tank Davis, the favorite in betting odds. With me seeing it as a boxing fan, I mean, I would personally have to say I have to give this probably 65-35 for Tank Davis. And I hate to say, and here's the thing, I know the advantages that Mario Barrios has. I know you're taller, longer reach, jab length, everything is in your advantage. You have the dimensional frames. But here's my thing, when you're strategically moved, that's because certain people, they see something that you can take advantage of. Because if not, you should be running things in your own division. You shouldn't be ducking champions in your own division and running and jumping up over jumping two weight divisions. So that's why I'm saying, like, I have to give it to Tank because there's real players in his own divisions that he's running from. So you're trying to go up to the next weaker opponent, almost like a Canelo move.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying, Terry, man. You saying the same thing I was saying. The way how Tank has been moved, obviously they see something that they can exploit with Mario Barrios, which is why the fight is taking place. Because, if you're just looking at it objectively, though, it looks like a very risky fight for Tank because he's moving up in weight and he's fighting a champion at the division. But ultimately, man, I was talking about the fact that it's ultimately a meaningless fight because first of all, Tank hasn't dominated 135. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like you're moving up in weight.
He hasn't even dominated 130.
130 hasn't dominated 130. Hasn't dominated 135. So you just moving up and through weight. I mean, pretty much, Tank is really how he's moving. Kind of like the Black Canelo, a little bit how he's moving. Honestly, you know what I mean? If we keeping it 1,000, he's moving like the Black Canelo.
I mean, but if let's keep it 1,000,000. I mean, this is true though, because Floyd Mayweather went and said that on an interview that Tank and Devin Haney will never fight each other, even though they're in the same division right now and they both hold belts in the same division. I understand Tank Davis has the WBA regular and Devin Haney has the WBA, real one. But, Mayweather out of his own mouth said that, no, Tank was going to stay at 130 and Devin will go up to 135, 140. But then now you just went back on your word. And now you also said, remember, Tank Davis, first of all, he has a weight problem. Yeah. He has a weight problem. Remember, he missed that weight the first weigh-in at the Gamboa fight. He missed it, and they gave him an hour because he only missed it by a few ounces. It gave him, I believe, a 2-hour weight allowance to try to lose that. Mm-hmm. So he does have a weight problem. And then he talked about how it was uncomfortable to do that. And then he made 129.6 when he fought Leo. So I will give him that. He got disciplined. He came in right on, 129.6. But then, so now you're going to blow up 11 pounds to fight a dude who's probably a natural, he's probably a natural welterweight, but cuts his weight down. If you look at his height, and Mario Barrios, 5'10" and everything, he could definitely fill out to be a welterweight, Mm-hmm. So I just feel like, it's just the way that they move because you could fight Devin Haney. He's at 135. Like at 130, I've always thought that Tevin Farmer fight was there when he had that IBF strap. He was there. Farmer, yeah. There were a few people that were there. Now you don't want to do it because Shakur Stevenson's going to be there. So Shakur's going to have that WBO strap. So, I mean, come on. You want to Shakur and come on, man. You want to run into that? That's a train wreck.
Oh, yeah. That's Shakur. Shakur is coming, though, man. Shakur is coming.
He's about to get that 130 strap because Jamel Herring vacated. So he's about to get that WBO.
Oh, Jamel Herring vacated? When was this?
He's about to vacate because he's not going to get the unification bout with Valdez. Remember, he already had to sign in writing because the WBO has a mandatory. And you know who the WBO mandatory is? It's Shakur.
Mm-hmm.
And he was guaranteed the fight after whoever won between Herring and Frampton. And you saw what happened. So now Jamel, he had 30 days in writing to put what his intentions were. And what he said was that his intentions was a unification bout with Oscar Valdez. Now that goes against what you just said in writing. Am I right?
Yep.
Even though I understand mandatories trump, unifications trump mandatories, but still, Shakur and he right now they were trying to say he's going to do it for an interim title, but Jamel Herring had 30 days because most likely Oscar Valdez is not going to do a unification bout, and so Jamel Herring is going to have to drop the belt. So Shakur is most likely that interim belt is going to have to turn into the full world title. So it'll be 2 times that Shakur has never fought the champion because remember, what's his name before? Was that who had the belt at 126? Was that who had it before him at one? No, that was Valdez that had him. It was Valdez at 126 that dropped the WBO belt at 126 when he was supposed to fight Shakur. And now it'll be 130 when Jamel Herring, you're supposed to defend against Jamel, but I know you're friends, so come on, you gotta drop the belt. And it's not like Tank Davis gonna fight him. Dude, what the hell? And no. So he won't run that division. 135, Haney's right there. Not gonna happen. And Teofimo's there. Not gonna happen. So if 140, 140 looks pretty clear because both Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez are about to leave. But then Prograve's right there. And that's not gonna happen. Oh shoot, I forgot Prograve's right there. That's true. Damn.
So okay. So Tank, let's say he beats Barrios. Ramirez, Taylor winner moves up. Who do you think Tank could beat at 140?
Who holds the IBF 140 strap? Well, it'll be vacant. Everything will be vacant.
Everything will be vacant.
Oh, so you see, man, he gonna have the slim pickings on whoever's the weakest So what he'll do is he'll have the WBA regular. So he might even get elevated to the super because if Josh Taylor wins and it gets vacated, if I have the regular, he's probably already in prime position to fight automatically for the super, and it'll probably be against whoever the WBA mandatory number 1 is. And it'll probably be oh shit, that's Prograde. Oh wait, oh yeah, that is Prograde. Prograde moves. Oh my god. So
I'm not too high on Prograde though. I feel like he could beat Prograde. I'm not too high on him. You high on Prograde?
I'm high.
I'm not too high on him.
You don't really? I like.
He has good. He has good power, but like with Prograde, to me, like he's really lacking in the skills department. You know what I'm saying? So I can see somebody like Tank kind of outboxing him a little bit, you know what I mean, and kind of making him look a little silly. I can kind of see that, with Prograde. If like that happens to me, it'd be a 50-50 fight, in my opinion. Prograde and Tank.
Right. I mean, like some major players at 140 are like, what is it? Ivan Baranchuk, who is it? Zepeda. You got those are some decent players at 140. I mean, I believe Broner is supposed to get down to 140, but I mean, yeah, like
I wouldn't hold my breath for that one.
Yeah, that's why I said like, but you see, like right now, so once Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez move up to welterweight, I mean, Tank will have the WBA regular, and then he's primed to just get a unification bout with somebody, somebody else who has a belt. I mean, whoever wins, and if not, he'll be primed to even get the super. Unless Teofimo moves up, unless you want to do Teofimo, because Teofimo was talking about like he's only got like 1 or 2 fights left at lightweight before he moves up, because you already know he's already a big lightweight. So I mean, there's options there, but I feel like with them or with the Mayweather camp, I feel like they may go like unification with the IBF or WBO, whoever the next weakest opponent is. Oh, look at Tank, he's a 3 division, and you know how they consider in the International Boxing Hall of Fame, 3 division champion usually is a thumbs up for getting in the Hall of Fame. So Tank is pretty much going to be on that Hall of Fame route.
Well, kind of a little bit of an unfortunate situation because there's still some of those fights in there that we want to see from Tank, but it is what it is, man. Let's go back. Let's go back real quick, man, because earlier in the broadcast, I was talking about Triller and I was talking about Jake Paul. What are your thoughts about them, Jake Paul and Triller?
Oh man, me personally, I mean, for the ones that like it, like I think they came out with the numbers. It did like around 1.2, 1.3 million buys, but like I give them that because I mean, you had a lot of people and a lot of people that are connected that purchased it, so I can understand that 1.2, 1.3 million buys. So I mean, they're not like it's not like it's bad. I mean, it's just right now I see what they're doing. They're paying for some pretty good and high end boxers. I saw Steve Cunningham. I'm very high on Steve, USS Steve Cunningham.
Yeah, I
High
like
on
Steve Cunningham.
and then remember the first Triller fight, they had my boy, and I'm very high on him. My boy Badu Jack. I love Badu Jack.
I love Badu Jack too. That's my guy. I like Badu Jack. Badu Jack is a warrior.
That's what I said. Badu Jack is my guy, and he was on the first one fighting McCreary. And I like that first one. I was like, oh, look at Badu Jack, just trying to shake off some rust. And I understand what they're doing, and he got a good payday. I understand what they're doing. I like the model. It just looks like. Remember, if you saw back in the days in the 1990s, they used to do that back with the hip hop stuff, with the Def Comedy boxing stuff. Back when Floyd Mayweather fought Emmanuel Augustus, remember the Drunken Master? That
Yeah,
fight
I
was
remember
on
that. You said that in the comment section. I remember you said that. I remember that.
And remember, afterwards, you had the rappers and everything giving Floyd the interview. Then they played music afterwards and shit. Like, that's literally what they're turning it into, but more modernized.
Yeah. Yeah. Which
like
I'm not mad at all.
But there were times where people were demonizing that time to talk about, it's taken away from, the culture of boxing. But then you look at what they're doing now. You're just emulating everything 20 years later. So you feel me? You can't be a hypocrite. And Floyd, I can understand, because Floyd was one of them people that was there for them Def Comedy, them Friday night fights, because they happen on Fridays. So I mean, yeah, I understand it, and I hear that these boxers, they're getting paid, they're getting good money. So I mean, I can't hate on that. I just want them, and I mean, if Triller's wanting to put up the money in, hey, if this is what it's going to be, this is what it's going to have to be. You get a little bit of entertainment, you get some artists, get some boxing. Here's my thing. Like, if you're going to keep talking about Jake Paul being a boxer, you got to fight boxers. You can't keep fighting YouTubers because then it waters down the sport. That's my point. Like, if you're going to say you're going to box, fight a boxer. Don't just fight people that like I'm an MMA person, but come on now. Like, there's several people that have called him out. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't do it. Even in the interview afterwards, one of the dudes said, would you be open to finding a professional boxer? He said that I don't give a F. He said I don't have to do S. He just only has to do everything about him. And I'm like, wow. You gonna step in the ring with like an Erickson Lubin or like a he's a fights at cruiserweight. Well, I mean, he's fighting at 190. I mean,
that's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, he's not stepping in the ring with no like professional boxer, man. He may like do like somebody like maybe very low level, like somebody with a record of like 2-0 or something, or 2-16. Maybe he might do something like that, but I don't see him actually getting in there with a real professional and looking to test himself like that. I mean, all this is for like clout and all this is at the end of the day. But I do feel like he does have a genuine love for the sport, and I do feel like he has some skills. I was talking about that earlier. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about it with boxing, man, is and people don't get this, a lot of these fighters, like, they start boxing very early, like 4 or 5. You know what I'm saying? So for you to pick up a sport in your 20s and try to fight somebody who's been boxing since they've been 4 or 5, like, they got like 20 years worth of experience on you. And experience is a very like key element in boxing. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's just too big of a gap. You're gonna get your ass whooped. So I don't fault him at all for not wanting to jump in the ring with a real pro. But but I
There's
mean,
people
it's
that
all clout.
I was gonna say there's people that only boxed for 2 years and won Olympic bronze.
You talking about like Deontay Wilder? That's hella rare though. You know what I'm
Uh,
saying? That's
yeah, I know.
hella rare. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Boxing is one of them things, man. Because you see it's
I
like
know.
a father and son sport. Yeah, so it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But we got a few Showtime fights, man. Now that that's out the way, I got you on Jake Paul and Triller. Let me ask you about a few fights, man, because Showtime dropped their card. So let's see what your thoughts
I
are.
don't
What do you think
respect that.
about
I don't respect that card. I'm not sure if I saw Errol's name on there.
Errol's name ain't on there? Errol's
See,
name ain't on there.
I don't respect that, man.
Well, they say Earl's fight is supposed to be on Fox, so Fox is supposed to release their own PBC schedule. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And
what?
yeah,
Oh, all right, I
it,
guess.
it hasn't come out yet. But Earl, according to sources, you know what I'm saying, and I hate saying that shit. I hate fucking even talking about shit that's completely done. But Earl's getting ready to fight Ugas, man. I'm not sure if we've talked about this shit before, but how do you feel like that fight goes, Earl and Ugas? What do you think Ugas has to do to beat Earl, and what are the odds of Ugas winning?
I mean, I gotta say this. I give every boxer who steps in that squared circle, I always give him a chance.
Anybody
Because
who starts with that statement already feels like like it's gonna be an uphill battle for whoever they're talking about. But go ahead.
I mean, that's why I got to start it off with this one. Anybody who steps into that squared circle, I give
Uphill
them
battle.
respect. But at this
Translation, uphill battle. I hear you. Go ahead.
no, I mean, you're stepping in there with Errol, and like we just saw what he did to Danny after a car crash and people calling him a drunk and all this stuff. And dude, I understand about a little bit of ring rust, but Danny's face had a little bit of marks, and I respect Danny Garcia. He's one of my favorite fighters. Like I just see that Errol, like I can only imagine, like he's been consistent. His weight's been on check. He's been working out, been running. Like I've been looking at him on the gram and everything. Like he's still been, still been working out. Like so, Ugas, I understand you got elevated to the super because of Manny, and like I understand what you did. Like you finally worked hard and you got to the mountaintop. It's just that the level of competition that Errol has gone through. I mean, I understand you were Olympic bronze, Ugas. You were Olympic bronze. You're a real person. Like you're a real boxer. But I just see Errol's style. I don't see him maybe stopping Ugas. I don't see him maybe stopping him because Ugas is strong. He's got willpower. He'll get probably beat by decision, but he's probably going to take an ass whooping. Excuse my French, but I just see that style for Errol. Like I don't see Uga. I see him too strong, but I see just Errol. It's going to be unanimous decision for Errol.
Man, I don't know about a unanimous decision. I don't think it makes it that far. I think Earl walks through Ugas and then completely and utterly obliterates him. That's how I'm looking
Oh,
at that fight. Hey, man,
wow.
look,
I'm at least giving him a chance to make it to the 12.
I
Damn,
don't
just
even know about
live.
that, man. Earl's gonna run right through that guy, man. Ugas don't have the power to keep Earl off of him. You know what I mean? And then his style he doesn't, he's not like a slick boxer. He's gonna sit in the pocket with
He's gonna
Earl,
be
and
right
that's
there.
just
He's gonna be right there to be hit. He's gonna be right there to be hit.
and
You
that's
know,
not how you
you saw what he
fight.
did with that fight with Abel Ramos. That last fight with Abel Ramos, you tried to exchange. You want to do that shit with Errol?
Yeah. Yeah, he's gonna get
Oh,
stopped, man. Earl gonna destroy
okay.
him, man. It's just gonna be bad. G Parker says he could fight Lubin. G Parker, G Parker, you still talking about Lubin from the other week? That little inside joke, man. G Parker over here with Lubin. But yeah, man. Earl's gonna destroy that, man. It's gonna be a complete and utter massacre. What do you feel like? Do you feel like Earl getting that third belt? I'll ask you this. Do you feel like that will bring us any closer to a Terrence Crawford fight, Terry?
From what I've been hearing, I've been hearing some reports that Terrence Crawford maybe after maybe one more fight, he may be looking at trying to go up to the 154 division. So
I
we'll
heard about
see.
that. We're gonna talk about that. We talk about that. Don't
So
go
I
too
mean,
much.
we'll see. I
Don't
mean,
go. Don't go too much
all
into
right,
that.
you want to say it?
Yeah. Because we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna hit that topic for sure. But do you feel like though, like by Earl getting this third belt, do you feel like that'll bring us any closer to the like a Crawford Earl fight?
I feel like it would call for it. And now here's my thing. I feel like it would call for it because Errol would have all three, and then I'm gonna be honest with you, he's gonna have four because they're gonna give him because who the hell has the lineal welterweight championship? Let me ask you.
I think that's Terrence. I feel like Terrence
Does he
got
have
the lineal.
because that means what's his name? Jeff Horn would have had it, right?
Yeah.
Jeff Horn only had the WBO. He didn't win the lineal. There's no such thing as the lineal for the welterweight. So I feel like they're just gonna don it, like you know how the Ring magazine holds it. I feel like they're just gonna give it to Errol, considering how he's gonna have three. You know, they're just gonna, oh well, we might as well just give it to Errol. You know, because that's what I'm saying. Like somebody's got to have the lineal, and nobody has it. Like I feel like that one, they're just gonna give it to Errol, and then at some point, it's just gonna be just like it is for the junior middleweight division. They're calling for it now for Jermell and Brian. Well, you know, you might as well. Jermell, Brian Castano, they're the same side of the street. They already agreed that's happening. So, I mean, to bring Terrence to the table, and it's like, dude, I got 3 belts, you got 1, and Terrence has been in this position before for all undisputed. He has already been undisputed at junior welterweight, and it's like I feel like the only way this happens is you already know the numbers got to match up. The numbers got to add up right. That's the only way. Because I mean, 60-40 is a great offer. I would love, and here's my thing with 3 belts, and then you know they're just gonna throw Errol the Ring magazine, which is the lineal. They're just gonna throw it at him. All right, just give it to Errol. So I mean, at that point, like, how much leverage do you have except your WBO? And if you leave, I'll just fight some no names until you move to 154 and fight the Vakey. I'll fight Virgil Ortiz because Virgil Ortiz is damn near in the running for the WBO. So go ahead. I mean, unless Errol wants to just, but Errol's too big. Errol can't do that. He's a big boy. It makes no sense trying to stall it because, yeah. So
My guy David John says, salute King David. Salute, David John. Salute to you, my guy. Yes, sir. Go ahead, what you were saying. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
I know. I was just thinking, like, right now, how we do these scenarios, like, Errol's a big boy. Like, he can't stay at 147 for long. And, you know, he's been trying to get this Terrence Crawford fight. Remember, we saw what they did over there in Texas. Bob Arum and everybody and Bomac and everybody rolled up backstage with Ellie Seckback. We all saw the videos. We all saw how they wanted to make that fight. So they can't run away from that. They handshook on $1 million bet on each person. So we're not going to run away from that video. It's all on YouTube. So one way or another, I just feel like Al's gonna have to put up that bag because Arum's not gonna do it. Bob Arum ain't gonna pay for that fight. I feel like Al Heyman, if he wants Errol Spence, and Errol Spence is gonna have to talk to him and be like, dude, just drop the bread and I'll beat him.
I see. Interesting. You know, with me, like I don't feel like 3 belts brings us any closer. And you hit on this a little bit. You said with 3 belts, it's like it still doesn't change what's going on in that negotiation room, which is you know, pretty much the complete opposite of what you hear out here in the media and everything like that. Because all you hear over and over again is people say, Earl said after I get this 3rd belt, we're gonna see what happened. But the thing about it is, did Earl say after I get this 3rd belt, you know, we're gonna get into the negotiation room, I'm gonna give you a fair offer? And he didn't say nothing like that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, for all we know, it may be I got a 3rd belt and now it's 90-10. You know what I mean? So that's the thing always when I hear people talk about it, that's the thing that always throws me for a loop, because I'm like, that doesn't change what the issue was. It was never, oh, let me get 3 belts. It was, you know, it went from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. It went from easy route to 3 belts to 60-40 to 60-47-30 to you got to get a belt to, you know what I mean? Now it's 3 belts, But that doesn't change the underlying issue. Do you want to actually make the fight happen? Are you going to do what's needed to be done in order to make the fight happen? That is the message that I feel like isn't conveyed when Earl makes statements about getting a Terrence Crawford fight. So I don't think it brings us. My opinion on it is I don't think it brings us any closer to a Earl versus Bud fight. You know what I mean? It's all the same to me.
I'll
You know
put
what
it
I'm
like
saying?
this, unless Errol comes through with a good offer, I don't think Terrence is gonna budge. Only because like now Terrence still has leverage. I mean, we're not gonna forget he was undisputed at junior welterweight. He is a 3 division champ. Like he is a Hall of Famer. We know this. Like sometimes you got to pay your way, and if you want this name, like on your record, sometimes you have to pay your way. Niggas pay for Manny's name, so I mean, like I said, Errol, I hate to say it. I know he calls himself the 60-40 god, but this one, we're gonna have to see. I mean, because Terrence, because we know about his undisputed thing. It was a good offer because I read what happened. It was Julius and Dongo walked away with $2 million plus plus he got some of the gate. And I'm like, that's fucking good money for junior welterweights back then. $2 million plus the gate, plus some of the gate. He got 50% of the gate. And Terrence Crawford, I got to find out what his was. But I know Terrence probably made like $4 million plus, some of the other gate. But, as an opponent making $2 million plus some gate, that's good money. In an undisputed match.
Man, Donko ain't doing too bad. He ain't doing too bad at all.
I haven't heard.
My guy.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, my guy Davy John says, "What if Ugas beats Spence?" Well, if Ugas beats Spence, first of all, I don't think Ugas has a chance of beating Spence. I think Spence is gonna completely and utterly obliterate Dennis Ugas. I feel like it's gonna be nasty. The ass whooping that Earl Spence is gonna put on Dennis Ugas. Which is why I don't give him a whole lot of credit for that win.
Crawford's worst nightmare. That would be Terrence Crawford's worst nightmare is if Ugas beats Spence, because in the amateurs, Ugas destroyed Terrence Crawford in the amateurs both times.
You think Terrence Crawford would have a problem fighting Ugas now?
I mean, like, here's the thing. I would ask
amateurs
if the amateurs weren't anything, why doesn't Terrence Crawford fight Sugar Ray Robinson, who is on his side of the street?
Interesting.
Because we know what happened at amateurs. That was your first L. If next, why doesn't Terrence Crawford fight Keith Thurman?
Well, Keith Thurman asked for like $10 million or something like that, didn't he?
Also, because at the U.S. National Championships, at I believe it was lightweight, Keith Thurman beat Terrence Crawford for the U.S. national title at his weight division. That's what I said. So you want to fight people so it's Ugas and also Danny Garcia. I believe you guys are 1-1. Terrence Crawford and Danny. That's why if you want to run it at 154, like you guys can run it at, well, not anymore. Like Danny looked shot, at 147. But we can look at all these amateur fights, and it's like, if I look at Terrence Crawford's record, it's like you didn't fight some of these names who are available. Like, you did lose to Keith Thurman in the amateurs. You did lose to Danny Garcia in the amateurs. You did lose to Ugas in the amateurs. Like, you did lose to these individuals. You did lose to Ray Robinson in the amateurs. Why don't you just fight him now in the pros? If you got all these skills now.
Well, I think for Bud, it's very like interesting. He's in a very interesting situation because with a lot of these fights that you're talking about, they're like lose-lose situations for him. It's like if he fights Ray Robinson, like you're talking about, if he fights Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, not so much. But those guys in particular.
Keith Thurman is not a lose-lose.
Yeah, Keith Thurman, not so much. I think he gets credit for Keith Thurman, and that goes for everybody in the division, Earl Spence included. Even though Earl said that he's not fighting Keith Thurman, which is to me is ridiculous because, how do you not fight a top guy in your division? How do you tell the world that you have no intentions of fighting them? It makes absolutely no sense to me. But that aside, Terrence Crawford and Ray Robinson. You know, if he beats these guys, he's not getting any real credit for the win. You know what I'm saying? He was supposed to win. It's pretty much what people will say. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, if God forbid he has a tough fight or he loses, similar to what's going on with Andre right now and how people are talking about Andre is falling off and how he's at the end of the day, Andre fought a tough guy that to me would give any middleweight issues, but he didn't look as clean in that win is, you know, people thought he should look because people don't know Liam Williams. So it's him falling off, you know what I mean?
No,
So if Terrence,
I don't. It's not him falling off. It's the discovering of somebody. So now we know who Liam Williams is. Like it's almost like people.
well,
didn't
that's
know
how
who
you look at it. That's how you look at it. But most people look at it like, oh, Andre's falling off. Oh, Andre's not as good as we thought. He looks vulnerable. That's what a lot of people are saying.
No, Liam Williams was a definite pressure fighter. He was definitely a pressure fighter. Kept the pressure on. It's almost like when people make those comparisons, I look at who the hell was Devryanchenko. And then all of a sudden we saw what the heck he did with Triple G. And it's like, oh, damn. And then we saw what Charlo did to him. And it's like, oh, Charlo made him look regular. But we saw what he did to Triple G. What he did to Triple G was masterful. And he should have won that fight for the IBF. He was supposed to win that night because Triple G looked gassed as hell. And there were certain points where you didn't want to engage with this man. And I didn't realize that they had a real deep amateur background where they had back and forth with each other. And I was like, oh, this is why you were ducking him. So I said the amateurs plays a role because that man ducked you for so long. Remember, you had to take his first L was to Daniel Devryanchenko. So it's like when you do all this ducking and everything, like, you know.
Let's go to the comment section real quick. David John says all of them lose for Bud. David John also says the same way Ray Robinson had a draw with Mean Machine that ran the whole fight. And David John also says all the fighters you named was made offers by Top Rank. I wouldn't be surprised if them dudes.
Yeah, remember they offered. Yeah, the same ones where they say they offered Danny Garcia was it $3 million, but they gave the same offer to Amir Khan $7 million. So let's be honest.
Well, he probably had a guarantee. But what did those offers really look like? Because it could have been like a guarantee of $3 million and then some back end, which would have been the same as the.
I think it was like oh no, my bad. I think it was a guarantee of 3 for Danny, and then I believe it was a guarantee of 7. It was a guarantee of 7 for Amir Khan, and that's why Danny turned it down, and that's why Amir Khan took it because Amir Khan ain't turned down 7. Now with Ugas wasn't gonna take Ugas isn't taking those Terrence Crawford fight. He's getting more money with Errol. We knew that. This is probably about to be one of Ugas's last fights. This money you're about to make and take this stuff back to Cuba.
Errol gonna retire that boy. That's for real.
It's not that. I'm just thinking like.
I'm saying that. I'm saying it.
I think he'll still fight a little bit more, but he's gonna be to the point where, bro, this money you're about to make, and I live in Cuba. Remember, I'm Ugas. I live in Cuba. So these millions in Cuba, oh yeah, you already know. This is long train smoke money to him. So he's gonna be living like a king over there. He might just be like, all right, I fought Errol, I lost. Like I was WBA champ, I'm done. You don't see all this money, you don't see my big house and everything, all these Range Rovers and BMWs. Like he might be doing it like that, like shut it down. Because it's money.
You're gonna have to figure out a new career because Earl gonna retire that boy. I ain't even gonna hold you like that's a bad stylistic matchup. Yeah, it is, man. It's gonna be bad. I'm calling it from now because when Earl demolishes, that's true. Southpaws. Stylistically, it's all wrong for Ugas. So when that fight happens and the Earl people go crazy, because you know they're gonna go crazy after Earl destroys this boy. They're gonna be sitting on cloud 9. You know what I mean? I'm saying it here and now that the style is his style is tailor-made for Ugas. Ugas is gonna get destroyed, and you know, with that said, I'm not gonna give Spence that much credit for this win simply because of that.
Wow. He beat a world champion. He doesn't get credit for this. This is disgusting.
He's not getting that much credit for it, man. No, I can't give him that much credit for it. No, I can't.
Wow.
Nah, man. The
Come
dude
on,
was
man.
elevated. The dude was elevated. He didn't even beat a champ to get the belt. Like, come on, man. We're not gonna do this with
So do
all
you give
that. We're
Devin
not.
Haney? Do you give Devin Haney props?
Do I give Devin Haney props? Yeah,
He
I
was
give Devin
elevated.
Haney some props.
He was elevated via email.
Okay, cool. Do you think that Ugas could have beat Manny Pacquiao? Because that was a champ.
Shoot, do you think Ugas would beat Jeff Horn?
I don't know. I don't know, actually. I don't know. I don't
Oh,
know. I'm saying I don't know, bro. You think Ugas beats Jeff Horn? Jeff
yes.
Horn creates problems for a lot of people
Dude,
because of the amount of
Jeff
pressure that
Horn
he
has
does.
been losing to Anthony Mundine and who
How
else?
does Ugas keep Jeff Horn off of him?
You got come on, man. You Olympic bronze. He got some stuff in his bag. He got tricks in his bag. Come on now.
He might have some tricks in his bag, but how does he keep Jeff Horn off of him for 12
You
rounds?
got a jab. You got a jab. Jeff Horn just got that big old donut head. It's just he always bobs and leaves that big old head, and he leans in. He comes in with that head. Like, come on, bro. Like, come on. Throw some punches. You always coming in, ducking in, trying to come forward with the head. Like, come on, bro. Come on, man. That's not even boxing. Like you know. But if Pacquiao lost to Jeff Horn, I mind. Come on. Jeff Horn.
My guy Davey John says, but Danny fought Granados the same night Crawford fought Khan for $1 million.
Yeah, that's easy money. It's easy money. And
I wouldn't.
Adrian Granados. Wait. First of all, that's easy money because we know what happened to Granados. That fight, he got knocked the hell out. What, the third or some round? It's easy money. Granados got knocked the hell out. So I'll take that easy million, but I'm not. That's not enough to go fight Terrence. $3 million to fight him. But how much did they give? Nah, I don't want to say that because I know they gave Kell Brook at least like 4 or 5 because Kell Brook, they had to give him some money. But yeah, that wasn't enough for Danny to take that. Come on, man. Like, let's stop. Bob, stop lowballing.
You think Bob lowballing? I hear that a lot. You think Bob's lowballing though?
Man, listen, bro. How is Kambosos fighting Teofimo on Triller? Bro, you lowballing.
Okay, is it? But here's the thing. You don't think that Triller overpaid for that fight?
Nope. Because you know how much back? How much money do you think Triller might make back? Because you know what they're going to do with them festivities and everything. So you know what they're going to do to that card. And plus they're paying people for the next card. I think they might have Evander Holyfield's on this next one and a few other people. So, bro, you already...
Tio's on the card with Evander Holyfield?
Yeah, I think Evander's on the undercard, and there's a few more other people who are fighting on that one for the next one.
Okay, but they paying out for undercard fights. So if Tio and Kambosos had their own card, do you feel like that card would be worth $6 million or whatever Triller is paying them?
Hey man, we got to look at the views and the pay-per-view buys, and you know it might equate to the pay-per-view buys. We'll see.
Nah,
I mean,
man.
Hey man,
Tio and Kambosos is not worth no $6 million. I don't think so at all.
Hey man,
I don't think we could get 50,000 people to buy that pay-per-view.
They're both undefeated. You know, one's an IBF mandatory. You know, they're both undefeated. One's Australian, one's Latino. I mean,
man, people barely know Tio. You know what I'm saying? Let alone Kambosos versus Tio.
Hey man, you never know. Mike might have worked that thing out for Teofimo. And then wait, how can you say that? And then Twitter gave Teofimo $3 million in a contract. The first ever boxer to get a Twitter contract. Floyd never got.
You know, maybe they feel like he's gonna be a big star. That's probably them investing in him early. Maybe they feel like he's gonna be a big star, but he ain't there yet. That's for damn sure.
Fight Haney. We're not saying fight Tank. Tank is too small. Fight Haney.
He definitely need to fight Haney. Capson Full is in the building. Shout out to you, Capson Full. Shout out to you, my G. I'm late, but sounds like a good chat. Yes, sir. Very, very good chat I'm having with Mug. I'm gonna drop this link again too, man. So if any of y'all dudes want to get down on the convo, man, feel free to jump on here. I just dropped the link here for you. My guy, Davy John says Triller overpaid for that fight. Look what the zone offered, and they toss around money. Absolutely,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
the zone outbid they outbid Top Rank by like 200,000. That lets you know Bob was underpaying because Eddie Hearn came through. He came through with like because Bob was gonna pay like what is it like 3.1 in total because T.O. gets his 1.5 and then old boy gets his 1 and then the promotional fees. But then Eddie Hearn came with like 200 some thousand more, and then Triller came through with that. They came with that 6 or that 7. They came with that fat one. Now they killed everything right there in the bidding process at that purse bid.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's true.
yeah. But
If it wasn't gonna be Triller, then it was gonna be DAZN because DAZN did outbid Top Rank.
well, Top Rank is like, look, man, unless I'm making money on this fight, I'm not fucking with it. But people like the Zone and Triller, they have a little bit of money to kind of because these dudes aren't looking to necessarily make money off of these fights. What they're looking to do is they're looking to build up their brand some more. So it's really more of a long-term investment with those guys as opposed to a short-term investment would it be for Top Rank.
DAZN, if your brand isn't built right now, I'm shutting the doors down. I'm shutting the shop. You got Anthony Joshua. Hey, you got Anthony Joshua, Callum Smith, Canelo, Triple G. You got all these, and you still can't. I'm shutting down shop. I got to come on, man. You got all them big hitters over there, and I know I'm missing some. And I know about the Demetrius Andrades. I know that I'm missing some other champions, that are still over there. But those are main players. The Anthony Joshuas, your Canelos, your Triple Gs. Like they're all over there signed to DAZN, and it's like, damn, y'all still ain't. Y'all like, come on, man. Y'all still
Okay,
can't.
here's a great question. Here's a great question, right? Do you feel like the Zone at this point right now, do you feel like they're profitable?
No.
So
Because
that means they lose money then.
they have lost money because remember with Canelo and that contract, they were losing money with Canelo because he signed up and it was actually after that Kovalev fight. That's when things had to get readjusted because you did sign him for $300 and some million, whatever that exorbitant amount was, but he had to fight a certain level of competition. He beat Rocky Fielding, quote unquote, and then he beat some other people. And then he had to fight Daniel Jacobs. But remember, DAZN is shelling out money to the opposition. Daniel Jacobs walked with $15 million. Remember that fight looked like a hell of a sparring match. Nobody had a blemish on their face. They just looked sweaty as hell. I think there was only probably like 60 or 70 total punches landed. I'm like, bro, this just looks like a posturing match and just sparring. Daniel Jacobs knocked himself down when he threw that left hook. He knocked himself down. I was like, look at this shit. He knocked himself down throwing the left hook. And like the ref had to wipe his hand. I'm like, the ref saw this. I was like, look at this shit. This is sad. But he got $15 million to give up that IBF strap. Then you saw how Kovalev laid down with that little body shot. He laid the hell down, got the same money. So they bled themselves dry thinking that people were gonna pay, for their DAZN app and all that other stuff. They ended up bleeding themselves dry, paying for these fights and not making the return.
So you feel like now they've gotten the formula now based on the way that they're bidding on some of these fights? T.O. and Kambosos for example.
I feel like they got smarter and wiser. Like they maybe still have a little bit of cash and a little bit of revenue, but they can't. Like right now, they have to be careful on what they bid on. Like they can't just do like all that willy-nilly because remember, a lot of contracts did have to get reduced and certain people did get released. Like Michael Hunter got released from DAZN. A few other people got released from DAZN because all the cuts that had to be made. Plus Canelo and all this stuff, like he had to cut his contract with them and it actually saved them, because there was some other back stuff that was going on with that whole Canelo situation. But right now with DAZN, I feel like they have to just be careful with what they want and they just have to Because if I look at DAZN, they really have a lot of European level fighters. Like who over here? And if you're trying to attract the American market, you need American athletes, and they don't have that. Demetrius Andrade, but you're not giving him level fighters that we want to watch. You're not giving him Triple G, and he's on the same side of the street. You're not giving us that. Like if you give us Triple G and Demetrius Andrade, then maybe more American people would tune in. I think Devin Haney is over there at DAZN. Are you giving Devin Haney like his real fights? No, he gave him Zawar Akmal, whatever the hell, and Gamboa. You're not giving him his level due.
Well, I'm not so much on. I feel like I'll say this. I feel like the networks like DAZN, PBC, these dudes could do a better job of putting more pressure on the fighters to get them to fight certain fighters. Like honestly, like if you're not fighting quality guys, then you shouldn't be making X amount of money, just period. You know what I mean? And then if you're fighting quality guys, then you should be compensated for fighting quality guys, so they could be doing things.
And that means
like
Triple G should have been docked years ago, because I'm not paying you to fight Steve Rolls and whoever you just fought. I'm not paying you to fight them. What the heck? I'll pay you to fight that Canelo fight. That was G. That was Jiggy. That I'm with that. Like
Jiggy.
Now Denver Keiko fight, I was with that. That was a good fight. I'm not paying you to fight Steve Rolls and all. Who'd he just fight? That whatever dude, that other new mandatory knocked out in like the 4th round? No, I'm not paying for this. Like, and then, like, I'm not paying you, Canelo, to fight Avni Yildirim. I'm not paying you for this. Like, no. I'm not paying you to fight Rocky Fielding. Like, no. The same thing with you, Andrade. I'm not paying you to fight Marius Zulecki. I'm not paying you to fight him. And who else? He fought somebody else. He fought he had to fight him, Walter Katandakwa, to get the WBO strap. Like, I'm not paying you to fight all these other little no-name mandatories. Like, if I'm gonna pay you, I wouldn't mind. You gotta bring the names. But DAZN, like, what are you doing? Like, you have certain people on your same side of the street that the fights can be made. Like, now I gotta call it on the companies, because we just heard Eddie Hearn said that Triple G, you should make this fight, and everybody else in Charlo. Now what is going to happen? You can't just say that, oh, well, it came out of this man's mouth. So what are you going to do? You can't just say that, oh, like, what are you going to do now? All I can do is talk and keep asking my promotional company. If you keep saying no, what the hell is that? Like, what can I do? I can't come to your doorstep and force you and fight you in your garden,
Yeah, I know. All right, look, we're gonna switch gears here a second, man, because the topic of the conversation is the PBC card. So we're gonna talk about another. You there, Terry?
Okay, I'm here. We're good.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, Jose Utsukaki versus David Benavidez. What do you think about that fight? Who do you think wins the whole 9?
Ooh, that's a good fight, actually. Jose Utsukaki used to be former IBF champion. Unfortunately, lost to Caleb Plant. I watched that fight. Utsukaki, I like his style. It's a good style. It's a very good stylistic matchup for David Benavidez. This ain't going to be no Ronald Ellis. I'm telling you, he's going to be in for a good dog fight. Ronald Ellis definitely did put a good fight. But David Benavidez, he will be fighting a former super middleweight champ in Jose Utsukaki. I actually like the fight. I do think David Benavidez does win. I do think if David Benavidez, seeing how he looked against Ronald Ellis, most likely it'll be by stoppage. He looked good. I like the shape that he was in, his figure, everything. He looked good. If he just stays on the same path, I see him definitely stopping Uskatagi. No offense to him. He's a great person, great former champion, but David Benavidez, he's like a man on a mission right now. And I saw, he's on man on a mission. So I'm gonna roll with him right now.
Gotcha. Okay. For me, man, I like Utsugaki. The first fight I saw with him was him and Andre Darrell some years back. Where he was beating the shit out of Andre Darrell, man, and the fight ended up getting stopped, and I think he ended up losing that fight because Darrell, I guess he hit Darrell when he was down or something, and then Darrell like rolled around and act like it was the worst thing in the world and kind of got out of the fight, that type of thing.
Mhm.
But that was the first time I saw him. But after that, yeah, the Caleb Plant fight, all very good fights. Lutzkowski has some real good like power, you know what I mean? And I don't think I've seen David Benavidez in there with a real puncher. Anthony Darrell has some good power, but Utskaki is, man, he got some real thump in them hands. So I'm interested to see how David Benavidez, like how I'm interested to see how that chin is,
Well, remember,
because it's gonna get touched.
He fought Romer Angulo. Angulo had power, and you saw
And
what he did to Romer Angulo.
well, did he
Unfortunately,
did he have Utskaki power? Utskaki got some good, like
I
I,
know
I rate his power at the top, literally almost at the top of the division as far as power is concerned.
Uzcategui, he is up there with the. I consider him up there with like Jorge Linares. Jorge Linares got real power. He's
Yeah.
got a baseball bat. Like I consider Uzcategui up there where they got that right arm. It's a baseball bat. So like there's certain people I don't give them all that, but like those are my two. I'm like, you're looking at real punchers. I'm like Jorge Linares, and I would put like Uzcategui. He's definitely got a baseball bat. He can throw that.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as how that fight goes, I think David Benavidez wins that fight. I think ultimately it's going to be a really tough fight for him, though. I feel like that's a 60-40 fight. Utskaki is going to be trying to throw punches in between David Benavidez's punches, because we all know David throws like a lot of punches. He's very active, and that may kind of serve to bite him in the ass a little bit in this fight because his chin's gonna get tested. I like the power of Utskaki, and I think that he's gonna apply a lot of pressure, and I think ultimately it's just gonna be a really good fucking fight. I'm excited about this one. That's gonna be a damn good fight, and much respect to David Benavidez for fighting. I think this is a WBC title eliminator, so I think the winner of this fight goes on to fight whoever the belt holder is. I think
No,
it's
it's
go ahead.
gonna be Canelo because what happened with the
Yeah.
Kyron Davis and the Durrell fight, because they ended up in a draw. These two, the winner of this goes to fight Canelo.
Yeah, yeah. So, we'll see what happens with that. Do I feel like Canelo's gonna fight the winner? No, but I feel like it'll be some good fights on the horizon after David Benavidez gets that WBC belt, which I think he will get. I think we may see some very interesting things happen. One thing I was talking about last week is I was talking about the possibility of an Andre versus Benavidez fight. I thought that because you in this case you have two fighters that want to fight each other. They're looking for the big fight. You know what I mean? They're looking for that test. They're looking for that marquee
Andred
fight.
won't fight. Andred won't fight Benavidez, unfortunately, but here's why. I'm not trying to be mean or cut you off, but
Go
we
ahead.
should know that per WBO rules. Now, I believe if I'm the current and the reigning champion, because I am going to use the Terrence Crawford rule, if I'm the current and reigning champion at the lower weight division, and once I make, like he was at junior welterweight, his first fight immediately was against the champion, who was Jeff Horn. So now, as the current and reigning champion who has defended the belt a few times, I'm going up to 168. Now, whoever holds the WBO belt at 168, if I'm Demetrius Andrade, like right now, he should just say, you know what, I defended against Liam Williams. I can no longer make the weight. I'm 6'1". I'm going up. His first immediate fight should be against whoever the winner of Canelo and Billy Joe Saunders is.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, Canelo, you say you honor mandatories. We just saw you do one over here for we just saw you honor a mandatory for the WBC in Avni Yildirim.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, that's gonna be a sticky situation in general because once Canelo gets all those belts, he's gonna have a bunch of people that's gonna be waiting for him to fight. And honestly, he may choose to hold on to some belts. He may choose to drop certain belts. What belts he hold on to versus drops, who knows? But one thing I know for sure, if David Benavidez somehow acquires one of those belts, I can see David Benavidez picking Andre to fight Andre and making that fight happen, versus somebody like Canelo, looking to fight anybody like that, or any of those other guys at the division. Now he'll
I
be in
don't see him
position.
fighting. I don't see him fighting Andrade. I see him fighting Charlo.
Canelo, you talking about?
No, I said David Benavidez. Benavidez and Charlo. Remember, we saw what was going on social media and the internet.
Well, Charlo don't want to fight though. You know what I'm saying? Like Charlo,
it's two different weight class. That's 8 pounds. 8 pounds is a lot of weight, man.
Charlo don't want to fight that dude, man. He don't.
No,
Charlo said he would fight. Charlo said I'd fight Andre before I fought Benavidez, but it's like
they're in the same weight class. Because he has the belt in my weight class. We're both middleweights.
But the way that he said that was like, oh, like I'd eat cat shit before I ate dog shit. Like I'm not eating none of them. You know what I'm saying? But if I had to pick one, it'd probably be cat shit. Like that's how I assess his comments. I don't think that Jermell Charlo really has any intention of fighting Andre or Benavidez. You know what I mean? So that's how I'm looking at it. I think ultimately Demetrius Andre is probably going to have to look at somebody like a David Benavidez to probably fight and move up. You know what I mean? Because that would be a big fight. That would be the big fight that he would want as a part of his legacy.
I would retire if I'm him. Not trying to be mean, but we saw like this would just be not trying to be a disrespect to Demetrius Andre. It's just that this is just too many ducks. At 154, you were the WBO champion. Up until you dropped the belt, you were calling out everybody. Once he dropped the belt, Canelo and Liam Walsh fought for it. When he was the champion, he called out Canelo at 154. At 160, he asked for Canelo to unify when he was the WBA champion.
Well, you missed a spot. You missed a spot, Terry. He had the WBO belt after he dropped it. He picked up that WBA belt at 154. At one point, he had that. Demetrius Andre. He had that WBA belt at one point, and he was looking to unify with Charlo.
Oh yeah,
that's what a lot of people forget about that.
No, we knew about the bad business in Rock Nation. That's when we found out about contracts and trying to get more money, and the things fell through because, yeah, it went. Unfortunately, if you signed a contract for a certain amount of money, just deal with it. You could probably find some more money on the back end, but the fight signed. You're supposed to make this happen. Now we understand about the money.
But
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, yeah, but you know that's. Charlo's reasoning for being upset about that is some BS to me at the end of the day, because he fought Tony Harrison. Tony Harrison pulled out of a fight not long before the fight actually started. So I don't even buy the whole he pulled out of a fight excuse. At the end of the day, if you wanted to fight the guy, you would fight him. You know what I'm saying? Just like how you wanted to fight Tony Harrison in the second fight when he pulled out for what you called a fake injury. So I don't even buy that. You know what I mean? To me, that's some bullshit.
Well, he's tore ankle ligaments and he needed a little bit more time with
Yeah, but Jermell said it was fake. So you didn't even believe that, So if that's how you rocking, you can't turn around and say you still mad at Andre for pulling out of a fight when you went ahead and fought Charlo for after he pulled up, or you went around and fought Tony Harrison after he pulled out of a fight. It's just excuses at the end of the day. Dudes are not looking. They're looking to find ways out of certain situations.
Unfortunately, we're just not at the time of the 80s or the 90s because I don't know where people get this Floyd-esque mentality where your O matters. We can look at the WB. We can look at UFC. They call like George St. Pierre and a few other people as some of the greatest. Chuck Liddell, Rampage Jackson. Some of the greatest of all time. Anderson Silva is one of the greatest of all time, but they all have losses. Like, what the hell is a O? Like, dude, they call them the Four Kings for a reason. Duran, Tommy Hearns, Hagler, and Sugar Ray, they all fought each other. You don't get that name if you all, and of course you have to take L's, but it's the legacy you leave. Hagler and Hearns, somebody had to lose. And you see what kind of fight we got. Like, that is probably one of the most, even though it was quick 3 rounds,
the quickest and the most memorable 3 rounds that is still in boxing history. Like up until you guys are just like, what the, like, stop being scared. Like, what is this? Is this just a whole like you're not going to get promotion just because, oh, I'm still undefeated. Man, ain't nobody care. Look at now what it should be. And this is what I'm going to start to say for boxing. It should start being a resume check. We're going to start checking resumes. Who have you fought? And it's like, unfortunately, like I understand certain people because that works bad against certain people because you got a person like Charlo. I hate to say that, but he did work his way to be the WBC mandatory for Canelo. He had to fight everybody to get into that mandatory position. And Canelo did duck him. So it's like, but then now that you're the champion, what are you doing now? I understand, like, you know, with you, Jamal, like, so I have a problem with you because now I hear you may be in talks trying to do the Andre stuff now after the Montiel, because you know
I don't even believe it. I don't even believe it. And we're gonna talk about that too, the Montiel shit. Matter of fact, fuck it. Let's just talk about it right now. Jamal Charlo and Juan Montiel.
We know what this is. This is a ring rust fight. Stop this. This is, bro. I've been off since COVID, or no, he actually fought in September 2020. That was
I was just gonna say that. I was gonna say how rusty can you be?
I was gonna say how he actually fought as a recent, not too long ago.
And who was his last fight? Who was the last fight he was in?
Was that the Derevyanchenko fight?
Hold on, I'm looking this up. Nah, it wasn't Derevyanchenko. Who was it? Who did Jamal fight last? Hold on, I need to see this shit because Jamal Charlo right now is a whole fucking disgrace to boxing right now.
Jamal fought. Who did he fight before? Was it Jamal? No, it was Derevyanchenko, right?
Hold on, I'm gonna check right now. Jamal Charlo.
Okay, let me know because I know it's not my boy BA Brandon Adams. I know it's not him.
Jamal
should be Derevyanchenko. Let me see. I don't even know. I'm going by you.
We on Boxer right now. Derevyanchenko was his last fight. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Derevyanchenko.
That was a good tough fight he was in. Derevyanchenko didn't. I mean, he took some good solid punches. That was a decision. Good decision. But that's a good name to have on your resume.
So here's his resume right now. Before Derevyanchenko, Dennis Hogan. Before that, Brandon Adams.
Hey, BA, that's a good win. That's a good win.
Then Martov Korobov. Then Hugo Centeno Jr. It's like
Hugo Centeno Jr. used to be a champion. And then
I mean, these are good wins. I mean, the Derevyanchenko win is
I'm not sure about the Hogan win. The Korobov, we saw what happened with Korobov. Well,
Korobov gave him a hard fight, and that's the thing, you know, people don't why nobody talks about how Korobov gave this dude a hard ass fucking fight.
Because we saw what happened the very next fight with Korobov. His whole fucking arm slipped out of socket and the fight was over. End up throwing a punch and this shit slipped out of the rotator cuff, and yeah, it was over. Ref had to stop the fight due to it was a medical injury. It was a medical stoppage because his whole he threw a punch and his whole shoulder slipped out.
But still, he gave Jamal a tough ass fucking fight, man. So shit like
that's why
people want to talk shit about Andre for having a tough fight with Liam Williams, and it wasn't nowhere near as tough a fight as Jamal had with Matt Korobov.
What about Perella and Tony Harrison? That's or Giovanni Santiago and Broner. Those are hard fights. Santiago actually won on punch count against Broner. That was shocking.
Yeah, it wasn't shocking to me, man. It's not shocking to me at all. I even lie. I wish it was shocking, man. But Adrian Broner just,
he's gun shy now.
He's limited as a fighter. He was always limited as a fighter, but he's definitely something. There's a mental block there somewhere that stops him from being able to perform at peak.
Well, you heard what he said. Well, you heard what he said now. I think he said that he may be leaving PBC and going to Triller. But they said if you come to Triller, you're gonna have to fight that Prograis monster.
How you think that fight's going?
They gonna pay him. You know, they're gonna pay him. They're gonna pay him probably a few mil.
I don't think Adrian running from that. If he gonna get paid, yeah, but he's probably, you know, he probably gonna lose. You know, not probably. There's a real good chance he gonna lose.
You know, given his current situation in the legal state that he's in, that million that Triller will give him, if he and they gonna tell him, you better put up a fight. And we saw what Ivan Red cashed, that embarrassment, that embarrassment right there.
Yeah, that was tough to watch. That was really tough to watch. Ivan Red catch.
I don't want to see him fight anymore. I think
anybody ever take that dude seriously?
Remember, he stopped. Who'd he stop? What? Did he retire Lamont Peterson?
Oh man, come on, man.
But he was remember, he was already beyond. He was already like done and beyond.
Way beyond it. Yeah,
he was going through. Like at that point, he was picking up. He was like Cornelius Bundridge. Like everybody was fighting him at junior middle. Like, God damn, sorry, come on, Cornelius, do something.
All right, here go another fight. We're gonna switch gears. Real quick. Here go another fight, man. That's a good one right here. Guillermo Rigondeaux versus Casamayor. That's going down. That's another
you mean
banger.
John Rael Casimero?
Yeah, Casa. Well, am I saying this shit wrong? Yeah, okay.
You said Joel Casamayor. I was like, oh, you fighting Floyd?
No, I didn't. No. I didn't say Joel. I just said Casamayor. Yeah,
no,
that's how I pronounce his name.
No, when you said that name, I'm like, oh shit, Floyd Mayweather, this is happening right now? I'm just joking. But no, I'll be honest with you. I'm very, very high on Guillermo Rigondeaux. I've always been high on Guillermo Rigondeaux, one of my favorite fighters. And even in this advanced age, I still got to go with Guillermo Rigondeaux. I love. I'm sorry, John Rael Casimero. I know you got youth and everything. You just no. I saw what Guillermo Rigondeaux did to Nonito Donaire live. I saw it with my own eyes on ESPN. I saw the destruction of Nonito Donaire. I've seen the destruction of certain people. He was outweighed by Vasily Lomachenko. Now you're in his own element, and this man is a light body with heavy hands, and he knows how to really throw. And a double Olympic champion. I'm sorry, Joel. You don't have the experience for this. He's about to take you into some deep. You don't have the experience for this man. I think this is going to be a stoppage. This is going to be a 10th or 11th round stoppage. And then I'm going to call this. It's going to be a stoppage in the 10th or 11th round. And then he's going to call out, Noya, I need it now. Noya, in a way, I need this now. I'm calling it. He's going to stop Joel Casimero, and he's going to call out Noya in a way. And Bob Arum's going to say, hell no, because I know what you did to my last prospect, which was Nonito Donaire, and you broke the hell out of him.
Well, I hope for that. I'm also a big Rigo fan. Always been a big Rigo fan, man. The dude's skills are just out of this world. I'll never forget what happened to Rigo, man. I'll never forget Carl Frampton, Leo Santa Cruz. I'll never forget them dudes fucking running away from Rigondeaux, not wanting to fight him. Them guys freezing him out, blacklisting him and shit like that. And this dude having to move up 2 weight classes to fight Lomachenko. I'll never forget that shit.
No, Bob Arum did that as a punishment. He punished him because remember, the fight before was Donaire. You weren't supposed to beat my prospect. Remember, they were talking high on Nonito. And remember, he went and demolished him. And,
he made him look silly as fuck.
Yeah, and then that's why I said I'm gonna punish him now because remember, Nonito Donaire looked embarrassed. They tried to build him up, and now that was a punishment fight. I gotta drag you up 2 weight classes. They punished you for that. Let's just be honest. Bob tried to punish you for that.
Rigo should have never took that fight though, man. At the end of the day, fuck that shit, man. Loma didn't want to go down. He had to move up 2 weight classes. Like fuck that. I mean, I get why he took it at the end of the day because they froze him out. They weren't giving him no fights. You know what I mean? And that was like literally his only option was to go up and fight Lomachenko. And it's just
now. How do you?
If I'm Rigo, I would.
Now, how do you think Gary Russell Jr. feels?
I don't know, bro. After that whole Devin situation, I don't look at Gary Russell Jr.
Oh, come on. Man.
It's hard for me to look at him the same way, man. Like, come on, man. Like, really? You don't have no fights. You have
Dude,
zero fights.
I called out Leo Santa Cruz. I called him out. Wait, first of all, you know Leo Santa Cruz still has the WBA belt at 126, right?
Yeah, he does.
So come on. I done touched your dad's chain. I done seen him at the airport. Bro, do I have to literally come into your house, see your wife, grab her butt like, oh boy, Ricardo Mayorga did Shane Mosley? What do I have to do to get a you? Come on. What happened?
Yeah.
Frampton or Warrington? You wanted to fight Mauricio or no, who is it? Somebody else dropped the belt. Or somebody else, whoever the IBF, they don't want to do that. Like, I feel bad for him. And then, like, you want to go up to 130? Dude, Gary Russell at 130? Valdez ain't going to fight you at 130. No. Valdez didn't even want to fight you at 126 when he had the WBO belt. He didn't want to unify. Why would he fight you at 130? Tank Davis wouldn't even fight you. Tevin Farmer don't want to fight you. So why the hell would who else? Come on, man. Name somebody. Because he called all of them out. Tank Davis is running from shit from him. And y'all both short. Y'all both little 5'6" little babies. Come on now. Y'all need to let that shit happen. Y'all both little itty bitty rock'em sock'ems. Come on now.
Yeah, that definitely should have went down, man. But I don't know. I just can't look at Gary Russell the same way, bro. After that whole Devin Haney situation, you calling all these people out, and then somebody called
why
you out on
why
your
didn't Terrence
bluff
Crawford take the smoke? Talking about,
come on, man. You would have gave Terrence Crawford credit for knocking Gary Russell little ass the fuck out. That would have been a waste of time.
He's a champion, right?
A champion. There wouldn't have been no. He's not a champion in Terrence's division, so who cares?
But then you want to give. But then if Charlo loses to David Benavidez, you want to give David Benavidez credit?
I wasn't one of the guys pushing for the fight. I could give fuck less about that fight. Unless Jamal is moving up to 168 to campaign there, who really cares about? I mean, it would be a good fight, but you know, who really cares? And that's one weight division. Gary Russell and Terrence Crawford, that's fucking 3 weight divisions. You know what I'm saying?
4.
And
That's
6
4.
inches of height. Yeah, and 6 inches of height. You know what I'm saying? Like Gary Russell's like 5'2" or some shit. Like Terrence Crawford's like 5'8". That would just be a complete massacre. It would be like Terrence fighting Deontay Wilder or some shit. It'd be some crazy shit like that. You don't think so? You feel me?
No, I mean, I feel you, but I mean, that's what happened. I mean, we saw what happened on the media, all that Esh talking, you know, everything, all the clout stuff. So,
Gary Russell should have fought fucking Devin Haney, though. That fight, he should have fought Devin Haney. That was a big fucking mistake on Gary Russell's fucking part. Because up to this day, he still hasn't fought nobody. He doesn't have anything scheduled. Who the fuck is Gary Russell fighting?
I think he's fighting his WBC mandatory.
He's fighting
He's got to fight another mandatory.
I don't think that's confirmed yet, though.
No, I think it's in the talks, or it's in the works that he's gonna have to fight. He's gonna keep the belt, so he's gonna fight another. He's only got to defend his belt once a year because he beat Joni Gonzalez for the belt. So all he has to do is just defend it once a year.
But look, that's fucking ridiculous, though. You can defend your belt once a year.
That's
like you could have fought Devin Haney fucking in April.
If he would have possibly if he could keep his featherweight belt and then move up in weight, then yeah. You know, like how Kell Brook did when he went up to Triple G, he got to still have his IBF belt, but he just went up in weight to, get that money. So it could have went down that way.
Hey, more than should have. Hold on a second here. My guy Captain Full says, how you feel about Shakur Stevenson and Boots being on to of the food chain of the future? Shakur Stevenson and Boots.
Those two are they're legit. They are Olympians. They're Team USA boxing, former Olympians. Boots Ennis, he already has a lot of people in the welterweight shook. We heard what Sean Porter said. Sean Porter turned into Eddie Hearn. He became a fanboy. Talking about, he's got great power. I'm not fighting him unless it's a mandatory. I'm like, damn, you respect him this much? Damn, I thought you were damn. All right. Then you got Errol over here. Hey, pups can't talk to big dogs, bro. Come
Get
on,
the
man.
fuck
Then he
out of
kept,
here.
then he
Get
kept
out of
it
here
real,
with the Earl shit.
like Sean over here. Oh my God, he got all kinds of power and skills. Like, I'm not fighting him. He better be my mandatory. If I'm a champ, I'm not doing that. Like, God damn, you over here scared as hell. You're not even trying to sell it. You're trying to sound scared. Sean Knox, he rocks with you.
That's crazy as fuck, man. It's like honestly,
He said that.
that
You
shit
heard him
is
on the
crazy.
broadcast when he said that, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
That's
how is it? That's him.
it's crazy as fuck though. Like I mean, I'm not saying that's not him, but I'm saying that that's crazy as fuck. It's just in general, like man, oh man, oh man. I did a whole live last week about Boots Ennis, man. I like Boots Ennis. I think that Boots has a very diverse skill set. I like people who have diversity within their skill set because that means that they can adapt and they can change depending on whatever the situation is, and they can come with different fight plans and things like that. You know, they're more so people. They're not one dimensional. They have several dimensionals. And to me, Boots is one of those dudes who has several dimensions. He's able to fight different ways at different times. The only thing I don't know about Boots yet, I haven't discovered about him yet, is I don't really know his boxing IQ at this point. I've never seen him have to make adjustments mid-fight. I've never seen him have to I've never seen him hurt or in a bad situation or early on in the fight. I've just never seen. There's so much I haven't seen from him, but Boots looks very promising as a talent. And Shakur, man, Shakur's gonna be that guy that's gonna beat everybody. You know what I mean? Shakur's gonna be that guy that's gonna beat everybody. I guarantee it, man. This. And this is gonna sound crazy, but this is when I knew Shakur was gonna be the truth. When I saw him spar Devin Haney. Now the sparring, you saw
man,
that?
he schooled Devin. He gave Devin Haney some knowledge. That I saw that.
You saw that?
Oh man.
And it wasn't like
Remember,
he
no, it wasn't
completely.
that. It's because Shakur called Devin in to help him train to get ready for the Olympics. So they got working. Devin was giving him work for the Olympics. So, and that, if you watch that video, you can't tell me that was some great work.
That was great work.
Great work.
It was great work, but one thing I noticed from him, because it wasn't like he beat the shit out of Devin or anything like that. But one thing I noticed from him is just his ability to remain calm and just assess the situation and make little measured adjustments based on what's going on. And he's one of those guys where he's not gonna do too much, he's not gonna do too little, he's gonna do just enough to be able to accomplish the goal. He's not gonna move around a lot. He's not gonna move around. He's not gonna stay stagnant, but he's gonna move around just enough to make you feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like the level of poise and intelligence of that dude is just gonna put him above all the other fighters. I feel like Shakur is gonna be one of those dudes who's going to like probably all the way up to 147, man. He's gonna wreck shop. It's gonna be serious, man. He's gonna be one of those dudes that's gonna be avoided. My guy Captain Full said, sorry, top of the food chain. I mean, okay, I got you. I got what you meant, Caps. Don't sleep on Stevenson. Oh no, ain't no sleeping going on at all.
Ain't nobody
Stevenson.
sleeping on Shakur. Ain't nobody sleeping on him.
Ain't nobody sleeping on him. That's gonna be that guy, man. Oof. They know about Shakur, man. They see him coming up. They trying to drag that situation out as much as possible with Shakur, but man, I'm trying to tell you, when he finally does get into the ring with some of these dudes, it's not gonna be pretty.
If he can, I mean, they might just keep ducking him. You already know he's about to be a two-time world two weight division champion, because I'm telling you, Jamel, he ain't gonna do it. I mean, you're not gonna get the fight with Oscar Valdez. We already know that. So they already said, if you don't fight the mandatory, which you signed in paper, then that belt that you have is just going to have to, Shakur Stevenson's going to be fighting for the vacant, WBO belt. That's going to be the second time. So, I mean, and there's no problem with that. And then if you want to go to 135, I mean, you wait, unless you want to try to go up and try to force that with Teofimo, and you already know, shit, no. not gonna happen. Teofimo will drop that. You thought Devin Haney, you thought you were ducking Devin Haney. Imagine you having Shakur and Devin Haney in your same division. Hey man, I'm good.
Yeah, man. I agree with you, man. It's gonna be a rough night for anybody that's stepping the ring with Shakur, bro. For real, for real. My guy, Argenis Barber's in the building. What's going on with y'all, Argenis? Shout out to you, my guy. My Argenis say, "What's good, fam? Shakur is a beast. I don't think Gary want that smoke. He definitely does not want that smoke. Nowhere, no. He don't want that." Captain Full says, "Great work." Yeah, man. Shakur, I just said it, man. I'll say it again. Shakur gonna be one of them dudes that people are gonna be running from, man. They're not gonna want that Shakur. They're trying to delay it, but it's gonna happen. He's coming through the ranks, he's coming up the weight divisions, and he's challenging for these belts. It's gonna happen. You know what I mean? It's either get ran over or move out the fucking way when it comes to Shakur Stevenson. That's how I feel about that situation. But we're gonna go ahead and switch gears. We're gonna switch gears. Another fight that I think is gonna be a pretty good one. That's gonna be Gamboa versus Chris Colbert.
Oh, that's a good one. I mean, unfortunately,
Scrap.
I got my money on Chris Colbert. I feel like right now, just because Gamboa, just in the state that he's in right now, I feel like now he's just the gatekeeper. He's just going to be the test person now. I mean, not trying to be mean. I just feel like he's out of world championship contention now. So I feel like he's almost essentially just a gatekeeper, for his division. But I see this as a good test because, I mean, all besides Tank, and I believe it's all besides Tank and maybe Terrence that stopped him. Like, he's definitely a tough out. Gamboa is a former 2-division world champion. Definitely a tough out. I mean, he's definitely going to give you a fight. I mean, he's definitely going to be there to be hit, given how he tore his Achilles when he fought Gervonta Davis. But, I mean, it's going to be a game fight. I do see Colbert winning. Just, we just need to see some levels. This will be a step-up fight and a good name on his resume.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going with Colbert too in this fight. I think Colbert's gonna be the guy to this is his coming out party. It seems like the fight that's gonna get him on the map. He definitely got the skills to be able to get it done. Gamboa has seen his fair share of battles, you know what I'm saying? So he's probably a little bit he's probably a little shop worn at this point.
He is.
But I mean, you know what? But one thing I will say about Gamboa, every time we say that, he always ends up in these really good fights. You know what I'm saying? Like he had a real good fight with Tank. You know what I'm saying? He had a real good fight with Terrence Crawford. He's had a lot of really good fights where he was in there. You know what I'm saying? And and Devin Haney had a really good fight with Devin. You know what I mean?
Actually, that fight with Tank Davis was actually good up until he popped his Achilles in the second or third round on the damn knockdown. But all besides then, he gave him fits. I was like, because the angles and the movement. But then after that, he couldn't move because he can't walk on it, And that's why I said everything then and what he did with Devin Haney. I mean, he was just trying to be a tough, and now hopefully, you've recovered, you've worked out your Achilles. Right now, people still Gamboa's name still has resonance because people know Olympic gold medalist, two division world champion in 2 different weight classes. Like, I mean, it's not like you're a bad boxer. It's just that, everybody gets old, time, age, just dimensions and, just the youth. But I mean, he's still what is he, Cuban? He's still going to be one of them Cuban greats, Olympic gold and all that stuff. So, is a good resume. He's a good name on that resume for a lot of people. He's a good name on that resume for Devin and for Gervonta and for Terrence, and he'll be a good name for Chris Colbert.
Gotcha. Real quick on the comment sections, Captain Full says, when do you think Shakur should leave top rank Bob Arum? You can start out with that one.
Immediately. Like Terrence is leaving in October. Get the hell out. Take Jamel with you. Take Ray Robinson, Rob Brandt. You already know. Get the hell away from him. Take all the brothers and take all the brothers. Y'all all leaving over there. Duke, what is it? Duke Greer or what is it? Joshua Greer, take him. We're taking everybody. Everybody go.
You know what, man? Bob Arum get a real bad rap, man. But I mean, like, I you know, I'm just not one of those dudes who feel like Bob Arum is the problem with every situation. You know what I'm saying? Is Bob Arum Bob Arum? Yes. Does he do Bob Arum like activities, like, you know, talk about how he loses money on fights and, you know, and you know,
How
et
he comes
cetera,
out
et
of
cetera, et cetera.
Manson,
We can go down the
definitely
list. Yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? But Bob Arum also knows how to build fighters, you know what I'm saying, at the same time, too. He knows how to make good matchups, you know what I'm saying? And he pays his fighters pretty decently, you know what I'm saying? Like Terrence Crawford's deal is he has a guarantee of what, 3.5 million per fight, and then a percentage of the pay-per-view revenue, which a lot of cases is 60% of the pay-per-view revenue if it's pay-per-view.
It's
That's not
around
a
four.
bad little deal.
Terrence is walking around with around 4.5-5 million a fight. So he getting some M's. He's getting M's per fight.
Yeah, that ain't no bad deal, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, Bob gets a bad rap, but I don't know that it's Bob. I feel like Bob is just a
But
go-to excuse.
Teofimo's undisputed. He's only getting $1 million.
But he just became undisputed. Like he won one fight, you know what I'm saying, and became undisputed. It's not like he collected all the belts. And he's not undisputed. Absolutely. He's definitely not
That's
undisputed.
what I said. But
yeah,
he's only getting paid what is it? I think his contract's only 1.2 million, and that's his regular for top rank. So damn, like,
well, hold on. Don't see a female got less than 20 fights. Isn't he like 16-0 or something, or 17-0? Don't he have less than 20 fights?
dude, I beat Nakatani, Richard Comey, and Vasily, and you're only trying to give me 1.2 million. Come on, man. Yeah, I'm worth more.
Those are good wins, but shit, don't nobody know who the fuck you is really like that. You know,
They should now. I beat Vasily. They gotta know who I am now.
Let's get to some of these comments real quick. All right. My guy, Argenis Barbers. Argenis going off in the goddamn conversation. Argenis say, Gamboa is washed up. Stop the bull jive.
Golly.
Hey, you can say he washed up, but he be giving some of these dudes some good fights sometimes. So, you know, if he's so washed up, he should be getting stopped right away. You know what I'm saying? But that don't be happening. He be having real tough fights with these dudes.
He went 12 rounds with Devin Haney.
Yep, 12 rounds with Tank. You know what I'm saying? And really competitive fights. Our Jennifer Bible also says, how old is Gamboa again? Gamboa got to be almost 40 now, at least.
I think he's like 37, 38. He's close. He's up there.
He close. He up there. He an old dude. You made your point, Argenis. Argenis Bible also say, hold on. When he fought Crawford, Gamboa was prime. No comparison. He washed up now. I mean, he wasn't prime. You can't say you
know how long ago that was, because that was when Bud was at lightweight.
But you can't even say he was. You can't even say he was prime at that time either, because he was coming off of a long layoff. Remember, he was with 50 Cent Promotions and shit like that, and he ain't fought for like 3 years, so you couldn't even really call him prime either at that point.
And Gamboa was really better at junior lightweight and featherweight. He was really his best then out of the Olympics.
He went up to 140 to fight Terrence, right?
Or he went up to 135 because he was already. That's when
the fight was at 135.
Yeah, he Terrence Crawford's belt. He fought for the WBO belt. Terrence Crawford 135. But remember, Gamboa first started out as a lightweight. I mean, at a featherweight, 126, and he won the championship there. Moved up to 130, won the belt there, and then they dragged his ass up to 135. But he never won a belt at 135. Always been in contention, but never won.
Okay. Let's see. Right. I just Bobby say, who's getting paid more than Bud? Not the PBC. Better not go to the zone.
Arrow's getting 5 a fight. Arrow's getting like 5 a fight.
But and this is the problem, right? Because everybody we talk about how these PBC fighters getting money. I remember even Jermell, when Andre offered him $7 million, they offered him $7 million. He was like, well, I make that all the time. I make that all the fight. But where? Like, how do we know how much money you making? It's like drug money. You know what I'm saying? Remember Breaking Bad when Walter White was making all that money?
Now, Jamal turned down $7 million. I'm going to have to talk to him. I'm going to have to call him personally. Jamal, you turned down $7 million?
He turned out.
Hold on.
He said that ain't. He said that ain't. He's like, I make that all the time. Like he always getting 7 million a fight. But hold on, where?
Because I'm like, Errol automatically said he'd make an automatic 5 a fight, but he gets back in too. So I know at least his minimum, his contract is at least 5 million a fight. But so that means, Charlo, is your deal better than Errol's? I don't think so. Me being honest with you, because Errol sells out that damn stadium. Everywhere Errol's been, he's selling out. Charlo's, I mean, y'all fill the seats, but y'all not selling out. Y'all not really. And we saw your pay-per-view numbers. Errol does more than you guys when you guys did the little brother joint. Errol did better with Danny Garcia than you guys did with your brother joint. So I don't think you're touching that 7 M's. I think that was real Kaepernick.
Ain't no think about it. That was definitely Cap. But I mean, but my point though in general is like the Al Heyman fighters, people always want to say that they're making this amount of money, they're making that amount of money, but there's no proof and there's nothing to document how much money they're making. So we just got to go off of the numbers. We just got to go off of what we see.
I follow Danny Garcia on Instagram, and I remember that post. I think it was like a year and some change ago, and I think Al Heyman dropped him off and a few others a care package. That dude, Danny Garcia was flashing 200,000 on the Instagram. I'm like, damn, like
200,000 ain't shit though. 200,000. Yeah, I hear you though.
Like just a care package, like, but just to show it off on the gram, like, oh, I just got a bag from Al Heyman. Like, shit, that's a nice little bag right there. Shit, just the. Hey, man, that's a nice little care package.
Yeah.
I can imagine if Al Heyman gave you a nice little 200 whoppers like that.
I'm just saying, I don't want to talk about no damn money that I don't know that's there. You know what I'm saying? If you hiding money from Uncle Sam, then I don't know about it either. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as I see, a lot of these PBC dudes, they guarantee is 1.2, 1.5 million paper, you know what I mean, as far as what their guarantees are, and they get a percentage of the pay-per-views if they're on pay-per-view, but we don't know what money they get in. You know what I'm saying? That's like the IRS trying to come after a drug dealer for money that they done paid on drug transactions and shit. Like, the money's under the table. We don't know what the fuck's going on with it. So why do people even go out of their way to speak on it? How can you even use that as leverage in any kind of conversation if there's no documented record of the money that you actually get? You feel me? That's where I'm coming from with it. You know what I mean?
No, I feel you. But I guess all we can do is just go off of hearsay and what people say.
I'm not going off of no hearsay. I'm looking at what's online. I'm looking at what I see online, how much these fighters are making on fights, and I'm putting it together. If it ain't documented, then I don't know about it. And I don't want nobody using that in no argument, talking to me about how much money these dudes is getting when we don't know, They could be $5 as far as what they're getting on top of what they're getting. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying we don't know. Let me read some of these comments here. Let's see here. Let's see. Hold on. Okay, shit. Some comments went through. All right, Jenna's Barber said, T.O. need to stop there. Stop it, sir. Who is this guy? Okay. Arjuna say Gamboa was undefeated. And Gamboa was undefeated, but he had came off a long-ass layoff. Because he had that bad deal with 50 Cent and SMS Promotions. So they wasn't getting Gamboa no fight. I think he had came off of like a 2-year layoff or a 3-year layoff before he fought Terrence Crawford. It definitely wasn't no prime Gamboa. I wouldn't say that. Prime Gamboa was before that layoff. When he came back and fought Terrence Crawford, he was a good version of the Gamboa, but he definitely wasn't that prime Gamboa that was knocking everybody the fuck out. Mikey, Arjuna's Barber say Mikey ducked Gamboa, Loma ducked him. Yeah.
Yep.
They did. Facts. David John says, put me to your sources where Errol getting 5 a fight. Hey, man. And that's what I want. That's what I'm saying. You saying it, Davey. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to hear I don't want to hear these dudes brag on Earl money and PBC guys' money. Like, we don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's like Al Heyman. We never seen Al Heyman. Never talked to him. Never seen an interview. Nothing. We're not saying it ain't there. It's just we can't have no conversation about it. And I don't think that these dudes should be able to use that as any type of leverage. Like Like if I'm Earl Spence and I'm talking to Terrence Crawford, I shouldn't be saying, "Oh, well,
But
I'm getting this money, I'm getting that
well,
money."
remember
Well, we don't know.
do you remember that conversation when Daniel Jacobs went at the Charlo brothers? He said, but remember what this is Daniel Jacobs' exact words. He said, but y'all ain't touching them M's though. Remember when he said that? He said,
You said it
because
to
he
the
got in the
Charlos.
faces. He said that to the Charlos. He said, yeah, y'all good, but y'all ain't touching them M's though. And
Yeah, I
that's
remember
why, yeah, so you know what I mean?
that. Well, I don't like that conversation in general about, when I'm talking about money. Argenis Barber says, hold on, Earl's worth $7 million. How is Earl getting $5 million to fight? I got you. Yeah, man. Yeah. He ain't, I don't pay that no attention. Captain Full says, sorry, I came late. Who is your host and his channel? Respect. Good chat from you both. Terry Smoot is the dude on here, man. So Terry Smoot, do you ever talk boxing on your channel?
I don't even I mostly listen to I need to start my own channel. I'm actually a moderator and admin on a lot of other boxing channels. So I'm always I watch a lot of boxing. I actually was in the boxing gym up until like all this COVID stuff happened and it shut it down. And I actually want to start going back just to get back and learning and working with my trainer. I miss Mr. Greg. He was actually cool, but no, I need to actually go start a channel. But I'm actually an admin and I follow a lot of other ones. So once I get everything up and running, I'll start my own my little sports talk channel, and then you'll see me. It'll be like Smoot Sports Talk, something like that. But I'll join in like you guys on the YouTube community.
Yeah, for sure. Argenis Barber says the guest sounds like a fanboy. They calling you a fanboy, Terry. Argenis says, who is this guy? And then he says, David John says that was after he left PBC. Who is he talking about with that? That's what Davy John says.
Davy Johns, who are you talking? Who had left PBC? If you could just inform us just a little bit.
Yeah, who left PBC? Yeah, who? I'm not sure who you're talking about with that one. He's talking about. I don't know who he's talking about with that one. But we're gonna switch gears though. We're gonna switch gears. The last topic, actually, no, not the last topic. The second to last topic. Probably the best fight on the whole goddamn whole Showtime schedule, and that's Jermell Charlo versus Brian Castano. So go ahead and give your thoughts on that, my guy. On Jermell Charlo, Brian Castano.
We know how this is gonna go. Brian Castano, prepare to get the nicest payday of your life. I believe you are Argentinian, so what you get paid, just don't blow it off like Marcos Maidana. So you will get paid very handsomely for this undisputed match. I definitely have Jermell Charlo stopping him. It's not going to go 10. It's going to be a power outage. He's going to power him down. But Brian Castano, at the end of the day, you are a world champion. You will be a former one, and you will be paid handsomely for giving up that belt. So, all I can say is, of course, it's going to be Jermell Charlo. But hey, shout out to the champion. To the WBO champ. You know what it is. You know how this goes. Like, you're gonna lose, but shoot, it's like the Ugas thing. Ugas, you about to lose, but at least you're gonna get paid handsomely. So, hey, that's what I see it as.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about all that. I wouldn't say all that. I think Brian Castano has a solid chance of beating Jermell Charlo. I've never seen him. Yeah, man, I do. I definitely do. He got a solid chance of beating Jermell. Definitely does, man. So one thing I'll say.
You're trolling, right?
Definitely not trolling. So one thing I'll say for sure is I've never seen Jermell in with a style like Castano. I've never seen him in with a pressure fighter. I've never seen him with anybody who is going to be goddamn fly. I had to swat a fly. I've never seen him in with anybody who's going to be chasing him around the ring, just giving him that type of pressure. So I'm really interested to see how he adapts to that sort of style. And then anytime you're dealing with somebody like a Castano, it's just gonna be he's a very rugged guy. So he's gonna give anyone who he's in with a very tough fight, kind of like Sean Porter. You know what I'm saying? That type of mentality. You know, I don't think I've seen
Mm-mm.
too many guys look good against Sean Porter. They may beat him, but they definitely, most people don't look good beating him. And I feel like it's gonna be a similar type of situation with Jermell. But to me, Jermell has a very low punch output. So to me, if Jermell doesn't knock out Brian Castano, somebody with a really high punch output, he could possibly get outworked and lose in a 12-round unanimous decision. And of course, he could get hurt too. So that's definitely a possibility as well. So that's what I'm thinking about it.
I mean, I probably have to go start looking at a little bit more footage on Brian Castano. I mean, I'm definitely underestimating him in a sense, just because just because we saw what he did to Jason Rosario and a few other people, Tony Harrison, like, and now that I got to look at Tony Harrison, I got to look at him in a different light because of what happened with Perella. So, I mean, with Jason Rosario, he's, I believe, fighting Erickson Lubin soon. So that'll be a great fight. But no, I gotta probably see how Jermell would do against a pressure fighter. And like I said, I mean, I do have to give Castano a puncher's chance because he is a champion at the end of the day. So I can't just underestimate him like that. But I would have to consider, Vegas odds. Charlo would have to be the overwhelming favorite.
I'm sure he would be just simply just him be off of being a bigger name, you know what I'm saying, and just having a tougher fights on his resume. He's definitely going to be the favorite, but I don't think this is going to be an easy fight for him at all. Very similar to how Demetrius Andrade just got out of this fight with Liam Williams. I see this being a tough fight for Jermell Charlo very similarly, except I think that Brian Castano is a better version of Liam. I think he and he's undefeated, so he's coming in with that kind of swag too on top of that. And I feel like he has better power than Liam too. So this should be very interesting to see how this fight develops. Brian Castano, Jermell Charlo. I would not be surprised if Castano won. I wouldn't be surprised if he won that fight. Let's read some of these comments real quick though. Let's see what they talking about. That was after he left PBC. David John says, Argenis Barber, yes, he does. And I want to. Okay. Argenis Barber says, I wonder if he follows the LDBC. You follow LDBC, Terry Smoke?
Who, me? I follow all channels.
All channels? Okay, I hear you. Tony's Review, Captain Full. Tony's Review, what's going on with you, my guy? Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like the video, man, so we can keep doing what we're doing. David John says, Danny Jacobs left the PBC when he pulled up on Charlo. He signed to Matchroom. That is true. That is true.
Yeah,
Danny Jacobs. Yeah, he got up out of there real fast. You know what I mean?
But he's good now. He just had his last fight with Gabe Rosado with DAZN, so he's a free agent.
He's a free agent, and I'm not one of those dudes who says, okay, just because this fighter signed with this promotional agency, like he's trying to get away.
Daniel Jacobs, if you're listening to this stream, run the Triller. Run the Triller.
Run the Triller. Look, I don't look. I'm not one of those promotional company people pushing all that, man. Like honestly, like I don't care whatever promotional company you with. The fight can be made. If you want to fight somebody and they want to fight you, the fight can be made. So like, I don't necessarily consider it a dude getting up out of there just because he signed with another promotional company. Maybe that other promotional company gave him a better deal, especially DAZN. They be throwing money away like it ain't nobody's business. So I ain't tripping on that. I don't look at that no type of way. But you always hear the Charlos bring that up, like, oh, Andrade, he signed with DAZN, like pussy, he got up out of there, he ran over the zone. What that guy? He got a better deal with DAZN. So what the fuck that got to do with anything because he signed with DAZN? That's just some weirdo shit. The fact that anybody would get mad, I mean, how was that dodging? And then especially with Andre, how he explained how his contract was, how he can actually fight on any platform. So it doesn't even matter. You know what I'm saying? So you heard that interview with Andre and Brian Custer, right? When he was talking about how he could fight on his contract. Says that he can fight on any platform.
He's almost got like that Mikey Garcia deal. Because remember, Mikey was on DAZN. He can be on PBC. Mikey's, like Mikey Garcia. He's like a free ranger. He can go, already know. And he gets some M's.
Yeah, and it makes I feel like this is probably going to be a regular thing going forward, where with promotional companies, giving their fighters free reign to fight on whatever platform as long as it makes sense.
As
And
long
even
as
if
I'll put it like this, as long as they be like Bob Arum, like let's say I fight over here at this, like Teofimo, he's fighting on Triller, but remember you still get your promotional fee, that 800,000. So I mean, at the end of the day, you still getting your cut. So
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's see here. Let's read some of these comments in here, man. Look like they going crazy in the comment section. Hold on, let's see here. Captain Full says, "What up, Tony? Okay, y'all having a whole convo out here." Argenis Barber say he act like Charlo is going to get paid. Shaking my head. How much will they get paid? Tell him to keep it boxing. Okay, I see where you're coming from, Argenis. Let's see here. Tony's review says, Captain Full, I'm just checking out random boxing channels that I have never listened to. You? Shout out to you, Tony. I do the same thing,
one
my
of the
guy.
best. This is one of the best channels. Hit the like button and subscribe.
Appreciate that, my guy. Appreciate that, man. And when you get your channel, man, I'm gonna be sure to shout you out. Tony review says sounds that way. Argenis Barber says, "Yeah, my G, this is a LDBC fan." You
I
getting
don't know
dubbed the
how they.
LDBC fan, man.
I don't know how they. I don't know how they got that, but I mean, I roll with it.
LDBC, man. Oh man. But yeah, man, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up with the final topic, man. Right now, there's some rumors circulating right now that Bud Crawford is bulking up, and because people suspect that he may be making a move to 154 pounds. So how you feel about that?
Now I believe that we might have had confirmed or unconfirmed audio sources at a prior fight where Terrence Crawford did have a run-in with, I believe, Danny Garcia, along with Demetrius Andrade there, along as a witness. And along with the discussion, I believe Danny Garcia mentioned that he is no longer possibly going to be fighting at 147. He'll be making that move up to 154. And in the same conversation, Terrence Crawford said, "Oh, what? I believe he said that he wanted to move up as well to 154. So it may just be a little bit of a precursor, or if not, maybe Terrence Crawford's just putting in a lot of work in the gym, trying to add bulk and you can always add mass but still keep your weight down, form and morph that muscle. But we'll see. I mean, if he is truly bulking up, maybe he is making that move according to what that conversation with him, Danny Garcia, and Andre were there. If not, maybe he's just trying to throw in a little bit of horsepower.
Gotcha. Well, I did a live about this. I want to say maybe like 3 weeks, 4 weeks back. Bud moving to 154. I think this was right around the time where, all the 60-40, the bulk of the 60-40 talk was going on. And I'm more than cool with it, Bud going up to 154. I think that would be a really good move for him. I don't like the idea of waiting on Earl. I think Earl is on some bullshit, and I feel like Bud should kind of move on with his career. And if that means going to 154, go to 154 and get it done. I'm so cool with it. And I think he beats a lot of those guys at 154 too. I think him and Jermell Charlo.
Remember, there are a lot of good fighters up there. Jarrett Hurd, Tony Harrison.
Yeah.
I would have said Arislandi Lara, but he just went up to 160. Julian J. Rock Williams, Jason Rosario, Sebastian Fondora. Who is it? Who else did he lose to? Oh, Nathan Gallimore. There's a lot of good. Oh, Erickson Lubin. There's a lot of great names up there at 150. There's a lot of smoke at 154. That is a popping division right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. The way how things are shaping up right now, Terrence Crawford could go up and get in there with Jermell and immediately have a shot at undisputed. If Jermell gets past Castano, of course, Terrence Crawford has that WBO belt, which allows him to be first in line for the WBO belt holder, which is Castano right now, but which may be Jermell at a certain point. And he's right in the mix. So I think it would be
No,
dope.
this is no, it's actually perfect timing because
Yeah.
remember, Terence Crawford's contract doesn't expire up until October. So
Mhm.
with no fight really lined up, I mean, I could just exhaust this fight or wait till Jermell fights and wait for the winner and then
Mhm.
just call it in with the WBO. Hey, I
Mhm.
need that. Hey, I need it in now.
I need
You feel
that
me?
ASAP. Yeah.
You feel me?
Best case scenario right there. I like that as an option for him. You know what I'm saying? Um, only bad news is he leaves the WBO belt and Earl probably inevitably picks it up, giving him that undisputed, which I guess whatever, you know what I'm saying? But still, um, just as a Terrence guy who sees, all the fuckery that went on with the whole Earl Spence situation, I just, I would feel some type of way about him picking up that WBO belt after Terrence dropped it to go up to 154. But it is what it is. If Terrence goes up to 154, he fights Jamel. If he beats Jamel, man, he makes history. I just love that for him as a potential.
What kind of history does he make?
He makes history, man. I mean, like he's in there. He's a Hall of Famer. Like it's
Oh,
solidified. He's already a Hall of Famer, probably even at this point. But like, I mean, to become undisputed in two weight divisions, you know what I'm saying? To go
only
all the way from 135 to 154, like that.
well, Evander Holyfield, he was undisputed in two weight divisions.
Yeah, but I mean in the modern era, because back in the days it was, people actually wanted to fight each other and shit. But like right now, even to be undisputed in two weight divisions would be a big feat, and I think that'll be even doper than him. I think that'll be a bigger accomplishment than him being undisputed at 140 and 147. If he was to be undisputed at 154, to me that would trump the 147 undisputed title run, and it would be real dope. And then if he decided to
Yep.
do anything outside of that, like go up to 160 or some crazy shit like that,
No,
that would be hella
he's
dope.
done. No, he don't have the frame for a 160. He's way too light. Like 154 would be his last stop right there, and that's shutting it down. Like because he does not have the frame or the size as a 160. No, 154, he has the skills to pay the bills. You have the elusiveness, and let's see if that power can transition, up from 147. If it does, and if you are able to get that Jermell fight, it'll be a good fight, and he does have skills. He has a serious high ring IQ, switch hands, it would be a great fight. That's what I'm saying. Like, we could see the scenario. Terrence, just hold off. We're wondering who you're going to fight, but I think, like, let's hold off. And if you are bulking up and you pull that card, I'm going to go up to 154. Let's go WBO. You already know what your rule is. You did it for me at 140. Hey, man, it's a hell of a fight.
To me, I mean, I wouldn't want to see Bud go up to 160. To me, that's 160 is a doozy. But 160 historically has been a pretty weak division. After Andrade and Charlo leaves, there's nothing really at 160. You know what I mean? Like, he
Hey,
probably.
I got to address something in the chat. Argentus Barber. Let's just be honest. Errol Spence is bigger than Terrence Crawford. You just said that Bud is bigger than Errol. No, he's not. You can put them both physically together. We have the video footage of them together. Errol is taller and bigger than them. Like Argentus Barber, I think you might want to revise that statement. We have the video footage of that when they were actually side by side together. Errol is taller and bigger and thicker than him. So you might want to redo that.
Well, I'll say this. As far as Earl being bigger, I say that Earl probably naturally has the bigger. I'm not even sure. I feel like that'll be about even. Actually, I do. Remember that interview with Bud when he was with Demetrius Andrade and he was with Danny Garcia. Do you remember the one we were just talking about?
Mm-hmm. How they were talking on the 154?
Do you remember Bud standing up next to Demetrius Andrade and them being about the same size?
Danny and Bud around the same size. They're like 5'8", 5'9". Now,
but they were both around the same size as Demetrius Andrade, who's a 160 pounder.
Demetrius is 6 foot, according to what they said.
But if you look at that interview and you kind of peep how they looked around each other, they looked
but then you got to look at camera angles and everything. Like that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Like,
but it looked crazy. I'm just going off the eye test. I mean, there's nothing to back up
oh, no,
anything we're
trust me.
talking about.
I
Yeah.
know how it is. You know how it is in football. Football, everybody, oh, you 6'2"? Man, he looked like 5'11" and a half on the field. But you know how they try to give everybody, a few inches here and there, try to boost them up. But no, I'm just going off of, if we go to Wikipedia, if you look it up, I'm like, Errol is taller than Bud Crawford. And then if you go to arm reach now, Argenta's barber said who is
Now Bud
longer,
got longer arms.
longer arm reach,
The
but
Bud
that
definitely
doesn't
has
mean,
longer arms. Yeah.
but longer arms doesn't mean thickness and mass. That's a whole different thing. I'm thinking I'm bigger than you. Like my muscles, my arms are bigger than yours. My physique is bigger. You can have longer levers. But me as a physical build and muscular makeup, I'm thicker than you. And we've seen that. Bud literally started out as he started out at like 135. Errol started out at 154 and came down to 147. His first 2 fights were at 154. So we cannot do this. We can't just say he's bigger. No. So let's keep the conversation going.
Yeah, I ain't gonna say that he's bigger. I ain't gonna say that he's bigger, but I will say that I feel like it's probably more or less probably on the even side. And I feel like Bud could go up to 160 and probably do some damage too. It's possible. I wouldn't like to see him go up there unless he's really trying to dare to do some dare to be great type shit. But what do you think about him going to 154 and then coming back down to 147? What do you think about that?
I mean, I think if he makes that move to 154, I'm just calling it, bro, just going to the sunset. That's it. Your story's written. This movie's written in the stars. Like, that's it. Double undisputed at the lower weights, 4-division champion. Bro, I ain't got nothing to fight for anymore. I go into ESPN broadcast. I'm like, what more do you want me to show for it? Errol, I'm sorry.
He go for that undisputed at 147 too. He could try to do some shit like that. Floyd when it was
back and double dip. Double dip and be like, Errol, so you want this now that I got, I mean, now
hey, Floyd had a few fights at 154, then came back down to 147.
No,
you know
I'll do you like this. I'll do you one better. How's about this? The first ever double undisputed for both weight divisions, because they both can make 147 and 54, put all 8 belts up. Let's do some unbelievable shit.
That'd be some dope shit.
And we're gonna do this at a catch weight. We're gonna do it at a catch weight, 152.
You get to fight for all belts at a catch weight. I don't think they can
at a catch weight because you already know they've already proven that they've already had belts at 147. So Errol fought at 154 his first 2 fights. We already saw that on the books, on the box rack. So I mean, come on. Now let's just do that. I'm pretty sure the commission's they'll be like, what the hell? Yeah, I mean, we've never done this before, but they both can make the weights because it's only 7 pounds apart. Shit, put it up.
Sanctioning fees. Them sanction fees would be crazy as fuck.
Bro,
let's go back to some of these comments real quick. I would love to go up to 154 and call. I would love him to go up to one. Argentus Barber says, I would love him to go up to 154, call out Charlo. Charlo would be forced to fight Bud. He would be.
Yeah, that's a force.
Yeah. Can you imagine him turning down a Crawford fight? He would look like such a bitch. But the thing about it is, Jermell, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say he would. I think Jermell, because his mentality, he would take it. But I mean, you can't turn down a Bud fight. Heck no.
That would be the biggest fight of his career. There would be no reason for him to turn that fight down. It would make for such an interesting timeline. You know what I'm saying? Interesting little storyline for them two to actually meet up there and fight for all them belts. That would be dope as fuck. Would love to see that. You know what I'm saying? If my guy's bulking up, I just need to see him in maybe one fight at 154, then the next fight can be Jermell. And I'm okay with that. I think he does that fight. I think he does it up in that fight. That would be big as fuck.
I'd say you can't put him in there with like a Jared Hurd at 154 because that's a big 154 too. Like you give him a good nice test, he passes the test at 154.
Janice Barber says Spence fans would cry if he went up to 154 and beat Jermell Charlo.
How?
Oh man, you know a lot of the Spence fans, man, they always spinning narratives and stuff like that. So they would probably say, "Oh, I don't know what they would come up with, but a lot of these dudes come up with these
When I
different
just be
ass,
like, Bud
yeah."
got like, damn, Bud went up there and just did that. Oh well, shit, ain't nothing Spence could do, so he
It's
can't
like
be in the
some,
ring for him.
it's like some crazy shit like Bud ducked Earl so he could fight Jermell. Hey, mark my words. If something like that did happen, mark my words. I guarantee there would be at least 5 or 6 videos floating around online like that. And the
I,
headline would read, Bud ducked Earl so he could fight Jermell at 154. I guarantee you see some shit like that.
so you ducked one fire to go into another fire. I don't know. Like those they're both fires right there. So we
That's how,
take it with
but that's how crazy the narratives have been when it comes to Bud Crawford. That's how crazy it's been with dudes just kind of coming up with bullshit. You know what I'm saying? As far as what to say in order to kind of like take credit away from Bud Crawford and his
no,
accomplishments. So
at the end of the day, like I said earlier in the chat or earlier in the show, and I'm pretty sure you already know he's a 3 division world champion, undisputed at 140. I'm not sure about first round ballot, but I'm definitely saying like first, second round ballot Hall of Famer. Like that's hands down. Like Terrence Crawford's a Hall of Famer. But so I mean, like he's not like on the status of Manny Pacquiao, because Manny Pacquiao, he could do whatever the hell he wants, bro. He's styling and profiling, doing whatever the hell he wants. Now Terrence, he got a little bit of leeway because you put in a lot of work early in your career. Like you are low key a Hall of Famer. So I mean, there's not much work you really got to do, because your resume is pretty, it's pretty much set. So I mean, Errol, he's still got a little bit of work to do. I mean, he's doing work. You got the Sean Crawford on your record. You got the Danny. You got Lamont. You got a few other people. Leonard Bundu. I mean, you got a few other. You got a few people on your resume, but he just needs a few more names, because if you look at Terrence Crawford's record, and I did this before with somebody. Terrence Crawford actually beat more world champions than Errol Spence.
Yep.
Currently today.
More world champions, more undefeated champions, more undefeated Olympians. I'm gonna do a whole live about that, just talking about Terrence Crawford's resume, because people talk shit about his resume, but his resume is actually very, very, very quality, much more quality to me than Errol Spence's.
If we were to go through resume, I went through it before. Unfortunately, I went through it with somebody over there on another channel, and I just stick up for Terrence, and I actually won. I told him, I was like, "Nah, Terrence Crawford beat more world champions," because people forget, like them Julio Diaz's and everybody. You forgot they ended up winning belts later on after Terrence whooped their ass, and they became. That counts. That counts on. Yeah, that shit counts. So
that definitely counts, man. That definitely end up winning titles later on. But here go the thing. Yeah, people underestimate undefeated fighters. Like you got a whole nother swag about you when you undefeated. And Terrence Crawford has the most. To me, man, he has way more undefeated fighters on his resume.
It's not that he has a lot of and the thing is, those undefeated fighters that ended up getting those losses to him ended up becoming world champions later after the loss. So I'm like. That's why when I went back on the resume, and I'm like, nah, we went to the box. I'm like, oh shit, he won the vacant IBF. Oh shit, that counts. Yeah. So then it's like, damn, I gotta add him. Oh damn, he beat that guy. Yeah. Oh damn, that counts. So you feel me? That's why I'm like, dude, you're gonna find out it's like 14, 15 world champs. It's like that's really like 14, 15 world champs. He's almost in the dubs, like because other people that lost ended up getting championships. So I'm like, his resume is actually higher than Errol Spence's, because if we actually do that, you know what I mean? Like, so Terrence Crawford's resume, by the looks of it, world champions, undefeated, it is better than Errol's, to be honest. I'm not even gonna pull no punches.
Facts, my guy. David John says, why not go up to 154? Earl ducking. Sean won't activate his mandatory, but if he go up, Jamal will have to fight him if he become undisputed. Absolutely, he's gonna have to.
Errol's ducking Sean.
I think he meant it like, why not go up to 154? Earl's ducking. He means like Earl's ducking, not Earl's ducking Sean. He means Earl's ducking Terrence. So he's why not go the 154 Earl ducking? Yeah, Sean won't activate his mandatory. Yeah, Sean over there, like, you know, Sean is like, well, I want to get paid sufficiently. Well, I don't need to fight you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh,
that's how
because
Terrence is feeling about it.
You know the mandatory for the WO, that what is the mandatory split? Is it 70-30 or 75-25?
It's like 75-25, man. So
Oh,
yeah,
hell no, that's not bro. And that's why he was asking Bob Arum, can I at least get 2 million at least?
well, I think Bob was gonna give him the 2 million. I think he said that was still too little. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Sean said that was still too little. I think Sean is looking for like 4 million or something.
After I'm done talking to Jamal, let me go call Sean. I'm gonna have to go tell him, brother, we in a pandemic. It's COVID time.
I don't know what Sean on about, man. Sean's over there feeling entitled. Look, man, Sean got 3 losses and no belt. When he had that
those
WBC
losses were
belt,
the world champ. Those losses were the world champ.
I hear you, but when he had that green belt around his waist, he wasn't looking nowhere near in T-Bud's direction. Is all I gotta say.
It's
He
not
was
like
looking in
T-Bud
every other
called him
direction.
out. Did T-Bud call him out?
T-Bud called out every. He called out.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Wait. Hold on, because I'm going back to that video. You know the video, the one with the Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. Remember when they were at the fight, and you know when Bob Arum was there and everybody, and they were taking pictures. And what did Terrence Crawford say? He said, "No, remember I got the belt now." He said, "You went over here, and Keith Thurman went over here." Because remember, Keith Thurman was the unified.
Yeah.
Keith Thurman was unified at that time. So he said Keith Thurman went over there. So Sean had nothing to do with it up until Keith Thurman broke all that shit up. Until he couldn't defend it, and he had to get stripped for one. He got stripped for the WBC and kept the WBA.
Yeah, you're right. But when Terrence was at 140, when he was trying to when he was trying to get into the welterweight, when he was about to move up, he called out all the top welterweights. He called out Sean, he called out Danny, he called out Keith, and he called out Earl. He called out all those guys as he was moving up to 147. You know what I'm saying? So like when people say, oh, well, Terrence didn't call out Earl at that time. Terrence didn't call this person. No, Terrence called out everybody that was at the top at welterweight when he was moving up. And everybody said the same thing about Terrence. It was either he's too small, which is some bullshit, because if he's too small, that should be more of a reason to fight him. And he needed to get a belt, which he got a belt, and that's how we ended up in this type of situation with all this foolishness going on right now. You know what I mean? So, you know, Terrence called out everybody. He did, you know. But my thing is, when it comes to Sean want to get beat up and lose his belt, and then he want to turn around and act like he's cool. Like I want to fight Terrence now. Well, yeah, you want to fight Terrence now that you have nothing to lose. You know what I'm saying? But when you had that green belt, you were like, okay, well, let me fight Earl Spence. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, which is not I'm not gonna say he was ducking or anything like that, but it's like, okay, come on, bro. You want to get beat up, and now you look at Terrence's way, like, you know what I mean? Like, why couldn't you have?
I mean, I feel you in a sense, but no, I feel you in a sense.
I'm not saying he ducking or nothing. I'm just saying, like, you know.
No, I mean, let's just be honest. Like, when you have a belt, I mean, you're in contention, and I mean, once you lose your strap, you got to find a way to go get another one. Am I right? Like, it's almost like what people were like what Teofimo was telling Lomachenko, like, you want to fight me, you got to find a way to go get another belt. You know, because he didn't want to do the rematch clause. So, what other belts is really out there for Lomachenko to try to get his belts back? So, I mean, how else do you want Sean Porter to get back in, contention or, in the conversation? He ain't got no belt, so he's got to try to get another strap. I understand he's in mandatory for positions for the WBO and the WBC, I believe. But, I mean, is Errol really going to fight you again? We saw the first one. Now, the WBO, we haven't seen you and Terrence. We haven't seen that. I mean, but you already know you're not going to get paid for this. You're not going to get none of that money that you're even asking for.
Let's read some of these comments. Hold on a second. Oh, man, y'all going in, boy. Hold on a second.
I know. Just hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. If anybody new on the channel, just like what my boy Terry Smooth just said, man, like the channel, like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, man. We always talking that boxing stuff. But let's go down some of these comments. Let's say here. This guy hates Bud. They tell you say you hate Bud. I ain't gonna say that. My guy's been giving Bud some of his just due. Not all of it, but some of it. A good amount of it. I'm okay with it. Um,
I like
Tony's
Bud.
reviews. Yeah, I can tell you do, man. You're not a Bud hater. It's a lot of Bud haters online. You're not one of them, but you probably listen to a lot of them because
I hear a lot of Bud haters, but that's why I said, I mean, and why I told you, that's why I said, if you ever want to check see how it is, just run the resumes, and then they say who beat the most world champions in.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. We definitely doing that on the live. I'm gonna do his resume, and I want to do Andre's resume because their resumes are
we're not
very
doing
much
Andre.
slept on.
Don't do Andre.
Why we not doing Andre's? Why not? Why not? Why not? Why we can't do Andre's resume?
For world champions?
Not we can't do world champions with
Yeah, I was trying to
Andre's
think like how we
resume.
would do Bud for like Bud and Spence, like you're checking for world champions who beat the most. I'm like, oh man,
Yeah,
come
yeah,
on,
yeah.
Andrade?
No. We're not comparing Android and Bud resumes. Bud resume is way better than Android's resume. But what I want to highlight on Andre's resume is the amount of top quality fighters he actually has on there. Because he has a lot of fighters on his resume that were like 1 in the world, 2 in the world, dudes that were undefeated, dudes with 1 loss. You know what I'm saying? Dudes that were former Olympians, dudes, you know what I mean? Dudes like that. So I want to
That's
go through his
good. I
resume and
I
do stuff
consider
like
that
that.
good. He's beat a lot of good quality people. I mean, like, yeah, he's beat a lot of Olympians, people that represented their countries and stuff like that. I give him that. Like, but I mean, like, on the champion level, like, I mean, you're gonna look at like Luke Keeler and stuff like that. I mean, that's cool. Like I'm not disrespecting Andrade at all. I do feel you with like the level of competition. There can be a step up there and with
Oh yeah.
Andre,
Oh yeah,
I
for sure.
like and here's my thing, like he's got the skills to pay the bills. The man is he's slippery wet. He
False.
can literally adjust. He can literally adjust on the fly. I see how he does like a little bit of drunkenness, how he does that little lean, but he's doing this try to see like he's trying to snipe you. I'm just trying to see. And I'm like, he's got really crafty stuff. And I feel like, we just want more from him because we see your skill set. You just shouldn't be with these. You should not try to fight down to your level of competition. You should just excel and blow everybody out.
Mm. Well, for the most part, I think he does that. For the most part, I think what happens is I don't think he's a good finisher. Just in general, he gets guys hurt and he'll outbox the shit out of guys for 12 rounds, but I don't think he's good at finishing his opponents. It's like a little bit of a lag. When it comes to when he hurts his opponents versus when he's on top of them. It's too much of a lag. Like with Bud Crawford, if he hurts you a little bit in about a quarter of a second, he's on your ass and he's throwing about 35 punches at you. Andrade is like way more hesitant with with his finishing. You know what I'm saying? I wish he was a little bit more aggressive in that.
Argentus Barber, can you stop? Was Danny Garcia ever a world champion? He beat 3 now. Like you got Argentus Barber. I think we have a problem here. So you said Errol Spence beat 2 world champions. I forgot you forgot Danny Garcia.
Oh,
He forgot Lamont Peterson. Like Argentus Barber. Have you watched boxing, sir?
What was the hold on, let me look at the comment. I don't even know what the comment is. I'm way up on the comment. What's the comment? Read it to me.
He said Errol Spence only beat 2 world champions, Kel and Sean. I'm like, so he forgot Danny Garcia, he forgot Lamont Peterson.
He probably means they weren't champions at the time when he beat them, but they were former world champions. So Danny wasn't a world champion when he beat him. You know,
but he's right. But I'm like, he's talking, you know what I mean, in the sense of world champions. You held the belt in anywhere in that kind of division, you were a world champion. I mean,
yeah, former world champion.
They still call Luis Collazo a former world champion. So come on, man.
Yeah, but there's a difference though. There's a difference between beating somebody that's the champ and somebody that's a former world champion, meaning like they're not the champ. Somebody beat them and took their belt. You know what I mean? So right. I mean, you still get credit, but you're not gonna get the same type of credit of when you're beating the champ, the guy that actually has the belt. You
I
know?
mean, I feel you in that, but I always hold true to like and I'm gonna use this theory right here. This like with the upcoming fight with Ryan Garcia and Javier Fortuna.
Mhm.
Now I got my money on Javier Fortuna because
Oh
Javier
shit! You got
I
your
have
money
to
on
put
Fortuna?
I have to put my money on Fortuna because he's been there at the pinnacle. He was a former 2 division world champion. He's been there. He's represented the WBA belt. He's held that thing at 130. He had that.
Mhm.
So he knows what it takes and he knows what it has been to have been a champion. Am I right?
Mhm.
So Ryan Garcia, I understand, like, you're the contender. I know you probably have more features and everything, but I got to go with the man with the experience. And that's why I say, like, like that's with me. Like he was a former world champion, in lower weight classes, but I got to go up Fortuna because the experience and you've been there at that pinnacle. You've been there. You can easily get back there because you've been there.
Mm. Well, I'm not gonna say you're wrong there. As far as Fortuna and Ryan Garcia is concerned, man, that's a tough fight for Ryan Garcia, man. That's a real tough fight for him. You know, yeah, man, it could definitely happen. I haven't even really thought about that fight, but man, Ryan Garcia has so many flaws and so many little
Man,
things
don't.
to exploit. It's like, yo, like, and then a veteran like Fortuna in there with him. I don't know why he just didn't fight Devin Haney. Like, why would you not just fight Devin? Because if you turn around and lose to Fortuna, it's like, man,
Oh, it's
you
over.
know, yeah, like,
The train is deep. The train has now stopped at this station for a while. And here's my thing. I think Fortuna is actually going to do it because now remember, this is another WBC title eliminator. This is another one. I thought the Luke Campbell and him was a title eliminator.
it was. Yep, certainly was. So this is the second one. Yep.
So
Let's read some comments real quick. Terrence doesn't need the frame. Let's go. Okay, we're going back up in the conversation. Terrence doesn't need the frame. Unlike most boxers, he strength trains with weights. That is why he's always much stronger than the people he fights. Strength can be better than size. Is pretty much what he's saying. Okay. Yeah, if you're strong as hell, absolutely. Mike Tyson proved that. That was a big ass dude with a lot of strength. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's not all about your frame per se. You know what I'm saying? But usually if you have the bigger frame, usually, you have more mass, so you're able to. But as far as Bud Crawford's concerned, man, and a lot of people talk like, oh, Bud ain't gonna do nothing at 154, Bud ain't gonna do nothing this way. The dude came from 135. You know what I'm saying?
Bud will be a champ if all the belts get relinquished, or if maybe the Jermell Charlo fight gets in there, or if not, if the belts get relinquished, if all the Dragon Balls are out there, he definitely gonna get one. Yeah, he's gonna get one. I'm not sure if it's with the WBO. He might go another sanctioning route, but Bud definitely gonna get one. Yeah, 154.
Don't sleep on that 160 either. I'm not gonna. Don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it. Telling you not to. Don't do it.
That's too big.
I get why you would say that, but don't sleep on it. I wouldn't sleep on it. I think he could beat
that 160. That how massive it, bro.
Hey, remember Roy Jones went all the way up to heavyweight and won a belt. Now I'm not saying he beats the best guy at 160. If he went up there and got a belt.
Yeah, and then we saw immediately what happened the end of his career when he had to fight.
Well, we're not talking about that. We're talking about him getting the belts. We're talking about him getting the belt at heavyweight, which he did do.
He gonna get a belt. I already said, at 154, if unless he gets to
154, it might be Jermell, yeah. 154.
Or if not, like let's say Jermell, he wins, he beats Castano, and then he releases all the Dragon Balls. If Terrence goes up, either one sanctioned body or the WBO, he gonna get one at 154. Now 160, you're pushing it. Now 154, I'm gonna give you that. He gonna get one at 154. He just got the skills and he's got the the IQ and the acumen. I can see it when I see Bud. He's a thinking man. He knows, like, he'll do some shit like with that Kell Brook fight. If you watch in the middle of that second round, he realized, like, he tried to really he tried to go with that southpaw shit and it didn't work. So he switched to orthodox. And that's when he started to realize, I'm starting to have success. And then he went to the third round, caught his bitch ass. Caught him.
That's why I said Terrence Crawford, he's got too much of a thinking mind. And hey, Boots Enos, right now it's just you right now it's just right now you just need a little bit more experience for this. It's just levels to this. You know what I mean? Like Terrence, Terrence has got them levels. Just, you know what I mean? He'll get a belt at 154.
Mm-hmm. Happy 420. Argentus Barber say happy 420.
Happy 420 to you as well, Argentus.
Happy 420 in the building, man. We over here talking boxing on 420 instead of smoking up. Argentus Barber said every time he says something good about Bud, then he'll start hating. This dude is a Spence fan. He said Lamont Bundu, and who's that? KMSL. I don't know who that is. We start laughing. Bud called out everybody. Yes, he did. Okay, we talked about that. But David John says he's reaching now. Spence and Thurman was the top names.
Yeah, that's what I said. Remember that video with him and Bob Arum and them? And Terrence said, remember, you want to go over here and Keith want to go over there. And I'm over here and I got the belt.
Yeah, but Bud called out everybody, though. He called out everybody at 147. All the top guys at 147. So that's Spence, Thurman, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter. Go ahead.
Now, like we talked about earlier, do you think maybe his promotional company may have a factor into why these fights ain't getting made, like low ball offers, maybe offers that, because I mean they'll pay for an Amir Khan, but didn't want to pay as much for Danny Garcia and others said names like I heard Kell Brook got a good bag, but you could have paid for Keith Thurman because Keith Thurman Keith Thurman's looking for smoke now. I mean, he lost his WBA belt. I mean, he's just like Sean Porter. You got to get back in the running. You got to get back on your horse. So, I mean, is it because like you could have had one of them? You could have had one like either Sean or Keith, because they're trying to get back in they're trying to get back in contention. But is it because of maybe the offers or maybe promotional companies or things like that? Why those fights or those names couldn't come together and fight, or you know what I mean?
I'm not a promotional promotional person who's like, oh, because of this promotional company, then this isn't happening. That's like, if dudes want to fight, they can fight. Like, and people talk about Bob Arum not wanting to put up the money. Well, why doesn't Al Heyman put up the money? You know what I'm saying? Like, why does it have to be all on Bob Arum? Why can't they do a joint promotion, or why can't Al put up the money? You know what I mean? If it's not a fight on Showtime, he's not going to put up the money. It'll be a pay-per-view. So they could do a joint pay-per-view or something with maybe a joint promotion. Like, remember with Manny and Floyd when they fought, I think they did a joint pay-per-view with Showtime and HBO. Why can't they do something like that?
Oh no, you're right. You're right. Like I said, maybe these are questions that maybe us as fans and people who watch the sport, maybe these are some things that. Oh,
but this is why I always put things back on the fighters, because at the end of the day, like, they could, like, if they really wanted to make it happen, they can get creative enough where it could happen. You know what I mean? That's why I always go back to the fighter, because it's like, okay, there's so many different things you could do to try to make these things work. There's no one way, and we've seen it happen all in the past. So it's like, might be a little difficult. Not saying it's gonna be the easiest thing, but if you want it to happen, if both fighters want it to happen, it should be able to happen.
Right. Oh no, I was gonna say one more thing. I was gonna say everybody hit the like button, hit the subscribe. There's a good channel, Box or Die. I'm gonna say King David, it's been a pleasure, and you had a good stream. Hopefully I've been a good person that's been riding with you on this stream right now. Hopefully I'm not no troll, know a little bit about boxing, but everybody in the chat, it's been a pleasure, and I hope everybody has a good night, and I hope everybody has a great 420.
Appreciate you, Terry Smooth, for coming through, my guy, and talking some good boxing with me, man. Man, you're always welcome to come through, man. And when you get your boxing channel, it'd be nice. Let me know what that is so I can go ahead and shout you out, man. But it was nice chopping it up with you, Terry. Have a good rest of the evening. But yeah, man, we still here in the building. Let me go through some of these chats. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up in a sec. Let me go through some of these chats. On a second. All right, Terry's out the building. Man, y'all was getting on my guy heavy tonight, man. Lord. He a good guy, man. You know, he's not one of those crazy Earl dudes or crazy with it. He you know, logical stuff makes sense to him. You know what I mean? He's not one of those dudes you can't talk to. You know, he's not one of those Earl dudes where it don't matter what you say, it don't matter how you say it, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna come back at you with the same arguments, you know what I'm saying? He ain't one of those dudes, you know. My guy is able to use some logic when it comes to a lot of different things. So I respect him for coming through. You know what I'm saying? Let's read some of these comments real quick. Bud called out everybody. Our Jennings Barber says Bud called out all of them. What is this fanboy talking about? Yes, he did. David John says he's reaching now. Spence and Thurman was talking. Okay, I read that already. Tell Sean to activate the mandatory. Those is big boy facts. He definitely need to activate that mandatory. You know what I mean? If he want to fight so bad, I get why he's not, but don't complain if you're not gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to hear no Terrence's butt ducking him, you know what I'm saying? Because that's some old bullshit. Argentus Barber says he's been reaching. My guy Davy John says Sean is the same person who had the belt and said, I'm not scared of Bud, but I respect him. Hey, he want to know parts of Terrence Crawford. And the thing is, these dudes, they get their ass whooped, and then now they want to go, they want to act like they've been looking for the fight the whole time. It's like, you had a green belt. We could have made that fight happen, but you chose to fight Errol Spence over Bud Crawford. Like, but now you want to run after Terrence Crawford after you done lost your belt and you got nothing to lose. Now you want to fight Terrence Crawford. Sean got everything to gain and nothing to lose looking for a Terrence Crawford fight. I ain't against the fight, but I mean, let's be real. This ain't, if I'm Bud, I ain't running towards Sean Porter. Argentus Barber says Spence beat 2 world champions, Sean and Kell. Okay, that's what my guy Terry Smoot was talking about. I get what you meant by that. He listens to a lot of LDBC. Yeah, he probably does. He probably does. Argentus Barber says Mikey don't count at 147, and Danny went 12 rounds with Red Cash. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Mikey, I'm not even mentioning Mikey. Argentus Barber says, can I cook? You sure can, my guy. I didn't even see this till just now. You still there in the building, Argentus? We can get you on here. Let me drop that link one time for you, Argentus, if you still trying to get up on here. I was planning on ending it, but if dudes want to cook, then let's cook. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't planning on being on that long. Honestly, I was planning on wrapping it up like very soon after Terry got on there, but it ended up being a lot longer than I thought it was gonna be. You know, that's how that boxing shit go. Captain Full says that sparring can also help Stevenson to fight Boots in the future. Yeah. Man, Stevenson and Boots in the future. Stevenson is he looked prodigy worthy, man. He's one of those type of dudes. I see that type of skill set, but more so just the poise of Shakur Stevenson. He has the look of a fighter that's been fighting for decades, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about his life. I'm talking about maybe lifetimes. He has like a lifetime worth of poise, you know what I'm saying? For somebody that's so young, a 20-year-old kid, you know, with that type of poise, that type of, you know, boxing IQ and skill. Let me see if our Argentus came through here in the building. Okay, he ain't here yet. Ain't nobody here yet. Okay, Argentus, if you're here in the building still, man, you can come through. I dropped that link, but I'm gonna give you maybe about 5 minutes and I'm gonna wrap this thing on up. You know what I'm saying? David John says they wasn't champions at the time. Yes, they weren't champions. The same thing I said. David John says they offered Danny the fight before Khan. They didn't even want to talk. Sure enough, did. Hey, Davey, you ain't lying about that at all. They offered Danny Garcia like $2-3 million. Danny just smooth act like he never seen this shit. Danny just smooth act like nothing happened. You know what I'm saying? Is what Danny was on. Crazy. Danny wanted no parts. no parts of that transaction. He saw Bud's name on that contract and just was like, he probably forwarded that damn email to spam immediately. Yeah. Danny wanted no parts of Terrence Crawford, man. Those is facts right there, Davy John. Let me see if anybody else here comment. Nah, that was the last one. They offered Danny to fight before Khan. He didn't want to talk. Yeah. He deleted the whole thread, man. He deleted the whole thread. He forwarded the email to spam. He wasn't fucking with it at all. You know, end of the day, man. You know, when it comes to Bud Crawford, I want to touch a little bit more on this 154 before I head out. When it comes to Bud Crawford going up to 154, I feel like, you know, that's probably the better option for him. I don't like the idea of Bud waiting around on Earl to do whatever Earl's gonna do. You know, Earl might beat Ugas and then say he want to get the ring belt next. You know what I'm saying? Earl might say, oh, I want to, you know, we're gonna see what happens after I get this ring belt. Like, it might change again. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want Bud waiting around on Earl, man. We don't know what it's gonna be. We don't know what it's gonna be, when it's gonna be. Yeah, man. How many of y'all seen that video with Earl kissing old boy? How many of y'all seen that? I saw a bunch of those videos circulating on the internet. I don't like really talking about stuff like that, but it looked real crazy though. I ain't gonna hold you. It looked real crazy. You know what I'm saying? David John says Danny was so scared Angel told Tim Bradley to come out of retirement to fight him. Danny wasn't looking for no smoke. Hey, man. Danny wasn't looking for no damn smoke at all. At all. Danny was good off that shit. Danny was good off that shit. Yeah. Man, but I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream, man. I want to thank all of y'all for coming on out here, man, and chilling with your boy. It's been 3.5 hours I've been on this motherfucker, man. So I appreciate y'all rocking with your boy. If this your first time here, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, man. We do this every Tuesday, every Friday. We talk that good boxing talk, man. You know, but until then, I'll see you guys on Friday, man. But until then, man, peace on out.